smartest organization in the NBA. They have been for years.
The write-up in the ESPN Analytics article, real quick, on Isaac is this. Jonathan Isaac of Florida State is right behind Ball in terms of NBA caliber projection, though the components that make up this overall number are much different. He's only 9th on the list when looking at all-star likelihood. But our model projects Isaac as the more likely starter caliber player. He's an elite defensive rebounder and shot blocker for his position. Isaac lacks the elite shooting potential of players with higher ceilings. I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's exactly, for those of us who watched him play every game of his brief college career, that kind of sums up exactly what we thought about him. An exceptional rebounder. He's got, to use the cliches in their fullest extent here, let's throw them all out there, a high basketball IQ. He blocks shots, spacing really good, but he lacks the ability to consistently knock down that jump shot just yet. Started out the year as a better shooter than he was at the end of the year. That could just be a freshman wall, whatever. I don't know what happened there, but he lacked the lower body strength that he'll gain as a pro, where he has the full time to focus on getting stronger. And once he is, he'll be able to get the spot on the floor that he needs. I don't know that he'll ever be as explosive as you'd like him to be, but again, I think he's a consistent starter for years to come.
Yeah, and he affects shots too. He's not afraid to get up and contest, and he'll rotate and crash if he needs to. So, I mean, he's got a willingness to do the little things that so many prima donna-type scorers aren't necessarily wired to do, and that they need to learn at the professional level. He's willing to do all the little things. He's willing to prepare. He's willing to get around the rim. He's willing to affect shots, get rebounds for you. It's the shot that needs work, and he's got a height you can't teach. I mean, yeah, that's a nice little package to have if you're sitting at 6, 7, 8, or 9 in this draft, and he's still on your board. I mean, give me that guy. Give me that guy with a good motor, a good sense for the court, a good sense for spacing, that likes to rebound the basketball, and that has the length that can create his own shots as he fills out his body a little bit more. Yeah.
South Point Sportsbook in Las Vegas has done what is necessary. They have listed, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it, but now the college football season is obviously less than, really just over 2 months away now. Ooh. It's time to take a look at those gambling odds as a means by which to decipher what the Sharks think in Vegas about your favorite team or mine or anybody that happens to be on that list of teams we play. Let's take a look at what Vegas thinks over-under win totals for the ACC next. Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Comedian
Louis Anderson.
Yeah, I like good old fat Louis.
He was awesome. He is awesome.
Yeah, he's not dead. Louis is fine.
No,
he's
John
actually
Candy.
in a show. Yeah, John Candy's been dead for years.
Man, John Candy was great.
He was great. I think of Louis Anderson as a guy that could never win a fight against anything or anybody. Super sweet, jolly guy, but doesn't look like he has any kind of. He has no squabbles.
I bet he could beat John Panette in a fight.
Could he beat a boar? A wild boar?
A wild boar.
Yeah, not a tame one. Could he beat a boar?
No.
It would. That'd be a quick fight.
That would be, well.
Boars, I think they eat you too afterwards.
Oh, they'll eat you.
They eat you.
Everything.
That's the best thing about a boar.
That's why you can never trust people that have pigs, man.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
You can't get any fresher than your own vegetable garden. Right now at the Home Depot, 1 gallon Bonnie veggies and herbs are not only as fresh as you can get, but you can get 3 of them for only $12. That's not only thinking green, that's saving green. So, pass the salad and stop and smell the rosemary. It's easy when you fill your cart with 1 gallon Bonnie veggies and herbs. 3 for just $12, now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through July 4th, Continental U.S. only. See store for details.
Staples knows that when the leave-behinds for your sales call get left behind,
and low prices we have. Not Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Honda, or Hyundai. $5,800 in savings on Altima SR. Brand new automatic Frontier pickup starting at just $21,800. 0% interest for 72 months on our most popular models. Rebates up to $10,000 and no payments until football season. I'm telling you, in the over 30 years I've been in the car business, I've never seen such incentives and low prices. I've got pages and pages of special interest rates, rebates, and bonus cash. Kraft Nissan even has a factory rebate for any credit score under 625 to help you with your down payment. Here's the deal. Nissan is America's fastest growing car company, and they want to be number one, and they're buying market share. So please, before you buy, check out Kraft Nissan's exciting lineup of new vehicles. That's all I ask. Stop by Kraft Nissan and look. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy.
Stone Tool and Fastener are nothing but heavy duty. M18 Fuel 2-tool combo kit for only $3.99. Add on Milwaukee M18 High Demand 9.0 battery and the Tick Tool equipment tracker for only $29.99. Milwaukee's 9.0 battery has up to 5 times more runtime than normal. The Tick tracker has a 1-year runtime and tracks up to 100 feet in range. Tick tracks anything, survives everything. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 580-1200 or online at ctf.nu.
Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket as much as
with 13 seconds left.
the 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the Corner Pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone.
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Did you know that June is National Rose Month, National Camping Month, National Great Outdoors Month, and at TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, June is Make Your Own Golf Cart and Get It Delivered Free Month. This month at TNT Supercenter, with any golf cart purchase of at least $2,500, they will deliver your cart for free within a 50-mile radius of the store, and you'll also get $500 worth of free Mad Jacks accessories. Choose from hundreds of items in the Mad Jacks catalog, including rear seat kits, light kits, lift kits, wheels, tires, you name it, Mad Jacks has it. New carts, pre-owned carts, club cars, Yamaha, and the very cool Star EV carts. If you like the sound of that, you will love the sound of a 4-year warranty on loaded brand new carts, starting at just $49.99. Trade-ins are welcome, and TNT Supercenter is offering financing with 0 down, and when you buy a club car, 0% with approved credit, plus free delivery within a 50-mile radius. TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Bill Mickelson told Bones to hit the high road. 25 years. Peace. Get to that later.
What?
Yeah. He has told his man Bones, have a good day. There was a quote that I will read to you momentarily, but let's go back to what I teased before we went to break. I so infrequently do that. Sometimes we can forget to actually follow up on the tease, and that's kind of the key. Kind of got to do that. So over-unders are out. If you're a degenerate gambler, you've probably already hit this. You probably have already gotten excited about this. You've discussed it with your friends. You have celebrated. Perhaps you even wept a little, knowing that we're that close, that these kinds of things are now being released publicly. Lets you know that soon you can, as a grown-ass man or woman, do what you will with your money, including gamble it. And I celebrate that freedom. Oh, free will indeed. The ACC, over-under. What do you think we're at, buddy?
Well, you told me, so I...
come play the game.
6.
No.
6.5.
So here's the deal, folks, for you non-gamblers, and some of you are. If you hear me say something like minus 110 or minus 120, they're basically telling you what you have to bet. You would have to wager $120 to win 100, or if it's minus 110, $110 to win 100. So that's kind of how that works. And if it's plus, then you'd wager 100 to win 120 or win 110. So that's how that works. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, plus and minus system. there for the gambling. And so I want to make that abundantly clear, because maybe we're just now indoctrinating people to gamble. Maybe now we're being the kind of positive influence that we should have been all these years as we properly explain ways to gamble on sports.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're being proactive, being that it's the 20th of June, the year of our Lord 2017. So we're getting out way in front of college football season, because that's the one. And early college football season is the time within college football that you really want to get on it.
You can have a go, what Tom is saying, you can have a go at Vegas early in college football season in which you do not feel like they have a distinct advantage. Vegas almost always does. But I have found over the years, and I think some of my fellow degenerate gamblers on the beat would share this sentiment, maybe not to the degree in which I'm describing it, but I feel like you can take Vegas early in college football. First 3-4 weeks, they get on to you then. You got to switch it up. You got to go the other way once they figure it out. But because college football is college football, I don't know if they just don't have enough people or what it is. They oftentimes grossly underestimate or overestimate win totals to start seasons. And they also seem to really miss on early season games in terms of point spreads specific to that game. And then they'll figure it out. So-and-so is a juggernaut that's going to straight beat people by 38 points a game in the first 4 weeks when they're playing nobodies. Guess we have to adjust. But you got to get them early.
What I've found to be successful, too, is since we watch so much ACC football, because of the love for the ACC really more than anything else.
Best football conference in America last year.
But is that you can jump on either a second level or a third level ACC team and do some damage during the season, because Vegas either doesn't care enough to figure them out, or it's like the NC State team. Every year we go play up at NC State. You know, it always seems that they're gonna give us a greater fight than you might think looking at their two deep, but we have the trend of always going up there and having a hard time. If you can find that team that's capable of on a given week being Pitt when it plays Clemson and beats Clemson last year, that's the team that you want to ride throughout, because then they play a team that's on an equal playing field, and for whatever reason, they don't get up and they don't play as hard when they match up with North Carolina.
Right.
So can you find that team within a conference that you watch an awful lot and then ride them week in and week out to 60-65% return?
All right, so this is not an official version of wins and losses, but we should note that Clemson, last year's national champion, obviously conference champion here in the mighty ACC, I'll put them first, begrudgingly as it may be. 9.5 says Vegas over under 9.5 wins.
So that's 9 out of 12. So they're saying 9-3 or 10-2. They're not looking at ACC title or bowl games or anything like that.
That's right. It's out of 12.
I think they're over. I think they're good enough now as a program to go 10-2 in a year where they don't have everything that they need to have from an experience standpoint. That's a good defensive line.
Had the best quarterback they're ever going to have. Should have lost to Florida State if not for a bad call. NC State missed a chip shot field goal. We so sure that Clemson's a place where that's going to happen?
Yes, because I think the personality of that team kind of matched the personality of the 2014 Seminoles. I mean, they had a lot of talent, but there's a hangover effect from going the distance, and that's a national championship or bust type season. This group should have a lot more to prove. It should have a better edge to it, and they recruit at a really high level. And again, I really like that defensive line to carry the day. South Carolina is not the team that scares you as much as they used to either, so you can, write that down as a W.
I'm marking it down as under all day, baby. Give me under on the Clemson Tigers. You can't just replace Deshaun Watson. They did lose to Pitt last year. Should have lost to us, no doubt. And if not for a kid missing a chip shot from 30 yards, they lose 3 games. Give me under. Dismissing.
Okay.
I'm dismissing Clemson. Florida State over under 9.5. Guess it depends on how you feel about the quarterback, because you're going to say loss to Alabama just off the top, and now you got to look elsewhere. You got to look at schedules, got to decide on what else is lying in wait. Well, I think Florida State easily goes over 9.5, so long as they go 2-1 in the stretch against those 3 great defensive lines that they're going to face early in the season in Alabama, Miami, and NC State. If you go 2-1 in that scenario, any way you like it, any way you shape it, then I got Florida State going over 9.5.
I totally agree. It's kind of like looking at last year's schedule and saying, hey, can you get to the bye at 6-1? If you can get to the bye at 6-1, you're in really good shape moving forward for a bid in the college football playoff. And this year, it's in September when you face Alabama, Cupcake, Miami, NC State. How can you do? because then you spread out Louisville and Clemson and Florida as much as they possibly could be spread out over the remainder of the schedule. You've got a get-right period after those first 4 games when you play Duke and Wake Forest, and then you get a bye week. So, yes, I totally agree, and I think they're going to go over because I think they will take care of business and go at least 2-1 in that stretch.
It gets interesting. I hate having to do this. I did kind of skip. Probably shouldn't have the order here. I should have, unfortunately, had to have gone with Louisville after I went Clemson, given where we were and where they were. But Louisville, I didn't skip 9.5, same thing as Florida State. Louisville at 9.5. Now, I feel like they figured out some things last year that as the year went on, there were ways to stop Jackson. We're going to go through this here. They got Purdue early. Then it's North Carolina. Then it's Clemson. You going over, under Louisville?
Boy,
9.5. Tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, how is it possible that all 3 could go over? And that's the way I would pick it if I'm looking at Louisville's schedule right now.
Yeah. Well, at Florida State's a loss.
Yeah. They're playing Clemson week 3 with Clemson breaking in a new quarterback situation. That's
at
nice.
Papa John's. They'll want revenge there, but they're at North Carolina. Week 2 is not a given. Certainly at NC State is not a given in Raleigh. I got them easily beating BC, Wake, and Virginia, and Syracuse. At Kentucky, same thing. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to go over there.
At NC State on a Thursday night it's no cupcake, but at the same time, they play Clemson and they go Kent State, Murray State before that NC State game. They got plenty of time to get ready for the NC State defensive line.
You're going over. Tom's in
How's
love.
that possible if the Atlantic could have 3 teams?
Love with the A. Wave the flag, baby.
I might have to.
Woo! You want to reach out to Swaffy?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. He's going to send you a shirt.
That's the last thing I want to do.
He's going to send you a shirt, buddy.
No, I might need to take a look at Clemson again in retrospect. How is it possible that you could have 3 teams in the Atlantic have 10 or more wins out of 12?
No, it's not going to happen. That's why I went under on Clemson. Here you go, buddy. Everybody and their brother is on the Canes. Boy, do people love the Miami Hurricanes for a program that's done nothing for 15 years. People love them some Miami. Every year we seem to find ourselves in this predicament, right, where we in the media and those that obviously root for Miami jump in bed with the Canes, and this is the year. The turnaround begins. Mighty Miami returns to what they once were during the VCR days. Might it happen that they dust off those videotapes, those VHS tapes, and relive some past glory before they enter this season, and maybe after this year they can put in a Blu-ray and find something on demand even to celebrate for Miami. The over-under is 9.
Boy, that's a push, isn't it?
Under is even, over is minus 120. Miami.
Well, they start out with Bethune and Arkansas State.
Which I told you, no easy pickings early in the year when they go on the road against Arkansas State. Don't want to just chalk up victories here all willy-nilly for a road game in Miami. I'll give them the home Bethune-Cookman win.
Then they travel up here after those 2 games, of course, to play at 8 p.m. here at Doak Campbell Stadium.
And they're breaking in a new quarterback.
And they're breaking in a brand new quarterback who
against Florida State's defense.
Yeah, that's the first real defense he'll see. Is ours.
House for Miami for sure, and the streak it goes on. Man, we are moving full steam ahead towards that Platinum Bohica, Canes fans. Woo!
Then a really important 2-week period.
Get limber.
For them to, make that 10-win season happen.
Well, right the ship after the annual loss to Florida State, sure.
They're playing Toledo at home. That's the first game after they play us.
Good bounce back after that devastating defeat in Tallahassee for loss number 8 in a row.
But then after that, after they play Toledo.
At the program's equal at 8 o'clock.
On a Friday night.
Forget about it. You just don't roll into Wallace Wade on a Friday night. Electrified as this will be, 8 o'clock. Revenge on the mind for the many clips that were ignored on the famed return after a forward lateral that was duly celebrated by Canes fans everywhere as their most significant win in the last 10 years.
So if they win that game, they might be on their way to a 10-win season. But if they lose that game.
Maybe. We can't be assuming things around here. It is Miami. Georgia Tech, they'll beat. Syracuse, they'll beat. At North Carolina, no guarantee. That's a pretty man coaching at Virginia Tech. I don't just chalk up wins there for Miami. Then they face Notre Dame. Then it's Virginia. Then it's at Pitt. I'm going to go under. Just not buying it. Another 8-4, 7-5 type campaign for Miami. Got to go under there. Good defense. They're getting better.
It's even money to
They're
go under.
giving it the old college try.
You want the even money on the under?
Yeah, I'm going to go under. I'll take the even money. I'll bet my 200 to win my 200.
I'm not so sure Miami can't win 10 games, but I'm not going to put money on that side of the ledger. I would put the money on the under.
So 9 is the over-under on Miami, and you're kind of not so, just can't figure out which way to go.
If you ask me to put money on one side of the equation, I'm going with an 8-4 season.
Yeah, well, history tells you you're right.
Yeah, I got to go with history.
Yeah,
here.
you got to go bank on it. Learn from history or repeat it. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford. The place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You can't get any fresher than your own vegetable garden. Right now at the Home Depot, 1 gallon Bonnie veggies and herbs are not only as fresh as you can get, but you can get 3 of them for only $12. That's not only thinking green, that's saving green. So, pass the salad and stop and smell the rosemary. It's easy when you fill your cart with 1 gallon Bonnie veggies and herbs. 3 for just $12, now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through July 4th, Continental U.S. only. See store for details.
Staples knows that when the leave-behinds for your sales call get left behind at your office, it's time. When you need to print 30 pages and you're 300 miles from the office, it's time. And when the intern packed the Harrington file, not the Farrington file.
Oh, my bad.
It's definitely time. And it's times like these when you can count on Staples. Access your files from email, the cloud, or USB, and then print, copy, fax, or scan them, and get back to business fast. Visit your nearby Staples. It's pro time.
Yeah, that was a good ending. What's another great ending to a movie?
Jaws. Smile, you son of a...
No. That's Jaws 2.
No, that's Jaws 1, man.
No. He shoots the thing, and it's Jaws 2, isn't it?
No. Jaws 2, he hits him with the electrical wire.
Oh, you're right. The electrical thing, he's holding it up, right? He's on the little raft.
He's on the raft.
You're right.
Zzz, and then that's it for Brody. He dies after that.
He doesn't die.
In Jaws 3, he's dead. He
he had a heart attack or something.
Yeah,
we don't see it on screen.
They don't show it on screen, but yeah, the Jaws killed him.
That's okay. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
How's your car's air conditioner working? Could be better? Take it to Auto Super Service Center today for a comprehensive air conditioner service. It's just $49.99. Yep, just $49.99. Since 1980, Tallahassee's trusted name for auto repairs, service, and low prices has been Auto Super Service Center. There are 5 Tallahassee area Auto Super Service Center locations. Find the one nearest you at AutoSuperServiceCenter.com and call for an appointment. $49.99 air conditioner service special is a limited time offer, so call today.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
The Furniture Bank of Tallahassee, a division of Echo, is the only local program that collects and distributes gently used furniture free of charge to Leon County residents in need. Our free furniture bank donates to eligible clients such as families recovering from fire or disaster, formerly homeless clients moving into their own homes, and veterans in a rehousing program. In 2016, we helped 138 families, including 33 vets, rebuild their lives. For more information or to have your furniture picked up, call 224-ECHO. Call 224-ECHO.
Now that summer is here, beat the heat on the water. The Wilderness Way has daily or weekly rental of touring, recreational, and fishing kayaks. If you've been wanting to try kayak fishing, Real Fin Addict can put you on the water with all the equipment, including Hobie Mirage Drive kayak and guide to fish for trout, redfish, flounder, and tarpon. Wilderness Way, 3152 Shadeville Road, Crawfordville. Call them at 877-7200 and visit them online at wildernessway.net. Get out on the water.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. The Noles hanging out in Omaha for a little bit longer. It's do or die the rest of the way as Florida State did awfully well last night with a 6-4 win against Cal State Fullerton. Now, Florida State will meet LSU in the elimination game Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The Tigers, who beat Florida State in the first round, were hammered by Oregon State yesterday. Today in Omaha, 2 games, Texas A&M and TCU in the elimination game, while the Florida Gators will take on Louisville. Both those teams won in their first game. Well, the NBA draft is on Thursday. We pretty much know who picks number 1 through 4 will be, but former Seminole Jonathan Isaac will certainly hear his name in the top 10. Most mock drafts have him at either 6 to Orlando or 7 to Minnesota. And of course, that picks up where the free agent frenzy continues. Dwayne Wade leading towards picking up that $24 million player option to remain with the Bulls for one more season, while the Cavs are looking to get even better and acquire either Paul George or Jimmy Butler from the Bulls.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Yeah, I mentioned it's been an interesting week for golf. Obviously, a great one for Florida State University and Brooks Koepka, who won over $2 million, and more importantly, this country's national championship in the form of the U.S. Open. Today, we learned that a 25-year relationship is no more, at least not in its current form. Phil Mickelson, his longtime caddy, Jim Bones Mackay, are ending their working relationship. That, according to a released statement in a joint email to reporters by both men. After 25 very rewarding and memorable years, Bones and I have mutually decided to end our player-caddy relationship. Our decision is not based on a single incident. We just feel it's the right time for a change. McKay wrote the following in his statement: player-caddy relationships don't often last that long. I will be forever grateful that I was around to witness so much of Phil's career. In that career, by the way, 3 Masters titles, 1 PGA Championship, 1 British Open, 41 PGA Tour titles on the whole. Mickelson notes that his brother Tim Mickelson, whom I've interviewed, is going to be on the bag. Now, Tim was the head coach at Arizona State, where Jon Rahm played. Tim left his position as head coach at Arizona State, golf coach, to become Jon Rahm's agent, and for a time was on the bag with Jon Rahm. I guess no longer on the bag with Jon Rahm, still representing him, I'm sure, but on the bag for his brother, Phil, the rest of the year. I don't know what this means. You might know what this means, Tom. If not, sorry to put you on the spot, but here's Mackay's statement. You tell me about this last part, because Phil's statement kind of refutes this. After an amazing 25-year run, I've already read that. When Phil hired me in 92, I had one dream to caddy in a Ryder Cup. Last year at Hazeltine, Phil played in his 11th straight Ryder Cup. It was cool to have a front row seat. I wish Phil nothing but the best. His game is still at an elite level, and when he wins in the future, definitely the Masters, I'll be among the first to congratulate him. I do want to say for the record that I did not use my veto this year. I'd like to pass it along to Tim in all of its glory. Thank you, Phil. Sincerely, Bones Mackay. Now, hold on. I'm going to read you Phil's statement, which addresses the veto, and then you can tell me what you were going to say. After 25 rewarding years, read that already. Bones is one of the most knowledgeable and dedicated caddies in the world. He's always prepared and has the ability to make decisions in pressure-packed situations. Bones is, without a doubt, one of the most thoughtful people that I have ever known. The next player to work with him will obviously be very lucky. My relationship and history with Bones far exceeds golf. He has been one of the most important and special people in my life since the day we met, and I will forever be grateful for everything he has done for me. Amy and I and our children will always think of Bones, Jen, Oliver, and Emma as family. We are looking forward to sharing life and friendship with them forever. My brother Tim will be on the bag for the rest of the year. Bones has not used his veto this year, and I heard the rumor that he's trying to pass his veto to Tim. For the record, vetoes are non-transferable. It was interesting for him to add that at the end there. It seems an odd thing to address.
It's a harmless quip that they have between them, but it is a deal that Bones can veto any decision that Phil makes one time a year, one season. So if Phil says, no, Bones, I'm hitting driver here, and Bones can say, no, I'm using my veto. You have to listen to me. You're hitting 4-iron off this tee.
So this is a personal thing they got. I didn't know what that was.
But it's a rule. Like, it's something that they actually do have. Like, so
but all players and caddies, or these two?
These two, and it's one time. It's one time a year where they can come to a consensus, but Phil always has the final vote.
So it's a funny little jab from Mackay to Phil and retorted in humorous vein back.
What I think is interesting here, unless Bones becomes John Rahm's caddy, which would make a ton of sense, that way he could work with a younger player and help mold him and all that nonsense.
And it might very well be that way where Tim relinquishes the bag to him.
Right, exactly. And they do the old switcheroo. Phil said when he was wrapping up his round at the St. Jude, his weekend at the St. Jude, that he's hitting the ball as well as he's hit it in a long, long time, but he just doesn't feel confident for some reason. Now that this is news, I wonder if there's enough cross debate between the two of them that Phil says, you know what, Bones, I love you. And if we go down this road, then we're not going to be friends anymore.
Right.
And maybe it's time that we part ways. But I need to go about this my own way, my own direction. And if you want to be the one to argue with me, well, then we're going to damage our personal relationship to a place and a point of no return.
I think, too, that one of the things that happens all the time in these relationships, and I've always been stunned by this, I didn't notice it, just to lend insight for people that have never been to a PGA Tour event, the player-caddy relationship is very, very different. It's a unique relationship in that some guys have caddies that say absolutely nothing. Other guys say a lot, and they get into debates with one another. It's kind of stunning. But Bones and Phil had a relationship that I saw up close and personal where they got into arguments. And, I guess after 25 years, you feel so comfortable with somebody that you could do that. But it was unique. You don't see that with too many caddies. Caddies are there to make sure the player feels very confident about the shot they're about to hit, to speak when spoken to maybe point out some things that the player in the moment may have forgotten, the pressure of the moment or some element that is involved that they wouldn't be aware of. A lot of times you'll see caddies just kind of stand in the background. A player will ask a question, they'll answer it, they then give them one last word of encouragement, almost always, before the shot. Commit to it. That's the right club. They'll say something like that so the player's in a good headspace before they swing it. But their relationship was weird. I watched an argument on the back nine at Sawgrass over driver 3-wood. And Bones eventually, I guess, won the argument. Phil hit his 3-wood. It came up short and ended up in the sand. He was pissed, obviously angry, said something terse to Bones, who then just wore it and kept walking. But I thought, whoa, that is different. So, yeah, you might be right that they had reached a place where a little bit too much.
Well, and frankly, what's Tim going to say to Phil? Phil could just say, oh, I'm sorry, Tim. Yeah, that's great that you have an opinion on this matter, but who are you? I'm Phil Mickelson. You're Tim Mickelson. You're like John Rahm's coach in college or something like that, and that's great. We both went to Arizona State, but you're going to shut up now, and you're going to hand me my 8-iron. I'm going to hit my 8-iron.
I always thought if I were a caddy, if I were a looper, man, there wouldn't be nothing better than making the kind of money you make if your player's good. I mean, I'm not trying to in any way dismiss the need for a good caddy. And I do think there have been caddy relationships with players that have bolstered the player's success rate. Steve was important to what Tiger did, and everybody will tell you that, including other caddies and tour players will say Steve was different, and that relationship was important to Tiger. And when he lost him, he began to lose a lot of things at that time. So that's a different deal. But for the most part, man, if you're a caddy and that guy is a top 20 player in the world, just shut the hell up. I mean, if he decides he wants to hit a 6, then he's hitting a 6 because he can hit a 6 better than anybody else in the world.
Get your yardages right. Yeah. That's your number one priority, is to measure out the yardages and, get what it is that you have to hit. Because it's not always about, how far away you are to the pin. It's like you have to land it in a certain area, and that's a different yardage than you want to roll it out to the pin.
Oh, there's a lot of things that are more intricate than people realize. Sure.
It's the carry number, and then there's also the green sheets and how to read those versus the breaks and all that kind of stuff. So there's nuances, and the caddy has a lot of value. But also, if we're just spitballing here, Bones was out at Erin Hills awaiting Phil in case there was a delay in the proceedings, and so
you
Phil
wonder
could show
what
up.
Conversations occurred.
Yeah, I wonder if Bones said, "What in the world are you doing, sir?"
Well, listen, I don't know the dynamic of that relationship. It's really not for him to say. It's for a knucklehead like me and you, thousands of miles away, to speculate how it is a guy could give up a chance to play in the U.S. Open for a high school graduation, which I'm sure did not endear us to a bunch of people, but I didn't understand that. It's not something I would have done, and I love my kids a lot. I still wouldn't have done that. I would hope that's not the reason for this.
Well, the timing's just curious, isn't it? I mean, they were together for the St. Jude, and clearly they were going to work together for the U.S. Open at Erin Hills, so why now? Why couldn't they finish the year together?
I wonder, you do wonder if, Jon Rahm didn't play well either. Jon Rahm lost a lot of fans this past weekend. He did some things, Thursday and Friday, that showed that when things aren't going right, maybe Jon Rahm is, maybe he's a little Justin Thomas. Maybe he's got some of that in him. Maybe some Jordan Spieth in him.
I did say that earlier this season, that he's got an interesting temperament, and that's the only thing that seems that might hold him back, because that swing is going to translate for another 10 years. He'll have to make some adjustments as he gets older, into his mid to later 30s. But, yeah, temperament matters. Maybe it could just be that Team Mickelson, because Jon Rahm certainly is part of the Mickelson tree at this point.
Sure,
it's almost like the Bill Parcells coaching tree.
Phil was talking about him 2 years ago.
Yeah. So maybe it is that they're just doing an old switcheroo, and John needs another voice because John and Tim didn't get along very well over the course of their time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be something that's just that simple, and so they want to bring in an older voice who can counsel him and calm him down, and who's been through the battles. He has a little bit more clout than, say, a Tim Mickelson does about how to get through the back nine in a U.S. Open when you need, to go 2 under or go low.
Steady taking shots at Tim Mickelson.
I am. I absolutely am.
Oh, man. Well, for the record, Tim was nice when he came on the air when I talked with him about the move to leave Arizona State to go to be basically Jon Rahm's caddy / agent. And he admitted, that's very unusual that you've got to have a player you fully believe in. And, I'll bring it back to make it relevant here locally. I asked Trey Jones when a player the likes of Brooks Koepka, who just won the U.S. Open, comes through here and was I think 2-time All-ACC, everything else. Do you consider it? Do you ever think about it? He said he hadn't. He didn't think about it, but he's known coaches who have. That it's not unheard of. To do it. I would have thought it. That's a hell of a thing, man, because golf players can be the next great thing, and then they're not, and it happens quick.
But consider the New York Times article where apparently, and you talked to Trey, and you didn't talk about the time that the phone call came in, but apparently Trey got a call in the middle of the night, Sunday into Monday, and it's Brooks, who is just done with all the stuff he needed to do for the U.S. Open, signing things. And
he's getting ready to fly out,
He's getting ready to get on the jet and get the hell out of Dodge and take his trophy with him. this time he's actually taking the trophy. But he calls Trey and he says, "Thank you for helping mold me into the mentally strong player that I am versus the headstrong player that got myself into trouble." I mean, that is what a caddy is about. I mean, it's that function. It's to keep you somewhere in the center. When things are getting great and everything's fantastic, all right, well, let's just take care of the next shot. When the world is falling apart, all right, no big deal.
Take care of the next shot.
All right, right center of the green. That's where we want to go. Stay aggressive, hit the ball.
I've often wondered, and we'll put a ribbon on this, but I've often wondered what a caddy does when a player is falling to pieces, like Danny Willett, who is now gone from winning the Masters to about to be off the tour. He can't make cuts. He's shooting 88s. He's having temper tantrums. He and the caddy split. That guy is a mess.
I'm sure it depends on the horse, There are some players where you need to tell them 100 words when they're down like that, and there are some that you need to stay the hell away from.
I just wonder, what do you do if a guy goes from being a top 50 player in the world to just stinging 7-irons off the faces of patrons down the right side of the fairway from 30 yards away? You're like, well.
Keep your left arm straight.
Goodness gracious. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
After Kraft Nissan, how do I convey to you just how good the incentives and discounts are on America's fastest growing car company, Nissan? Seriously, please shop Kraft Nissan before you buy. No one has the incentives and low prices we have. Not Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Honda, or Hyundai. $5,800 in savings on Altima SR. Brand new automatic Frontier pickup starting at just $21,800. 0% interest for 72 months on our most popular models. Rebates up to $10,000 and no payments until football season. I'm telling you, in the over 30 years I've been in the car business, I've never seen such incentives and low prices. I've got pages and pages of special interest rates, rebates, and bonus cash. Kraft Nissan even has a factory rebate for any credit score under 625 to help you with your down payment. Here's the deal. Nissan is America's fastest growing car company, and they want to be number one, and they're buying market share. So please, before you buy, check out Kraft Nissan's exciting lineup of new vehicles. That's all I ask. Stop by Kraft Nissan and look. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes dealer preparation charge.
Bill's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Bill's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
All right. Could Louis Anderson, the comedian?
Louis Anderson.
Yeah, I like good old fat Louis.
He was awesome. He is awesome.
Yeah, he's not dead. Louis
Okay.
fine.
No,
He's
John
actually
Candy.
in a show. Yeah, John Candy's been dead for years.
Man, John Candy was great.
He was great. I think of Louis Anderson as a guy that could never win a fight against anything or anybody. super sweet, jolly guy, but doesn't look like he has any he has no squabbles.
I bet he could beat John Panette in a fight.
Could he beat a boar? A wild boar?
A wild boar?
Yeah, not a tame one. Could he beat a boar?
No.
It would. That'd be a quick fight.
That would be,
boars, I think they eat you, too, afterwards.
Oh, they'll eat you.
They eat you.
Everything.
That's the best thing about a boar.
That's why you can never trust people that have pigs, man.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. The Noles hanging out in Omaha for a little bit longer. It's do or die the rest of the way as Florida State did awfully well last night with a 6-4 win against Cal State Fullerton. Now, Florida State will meet LSU in the elimination game Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The Tigers, who beat Florida State in the first round, were hammered by Oregon State yesterday. Today in Omaha, 2 games, Texas A&M and TCU in the elimination game, while the Florida Gators will take on Louisville. Both those teams won in their first game. Well, the NBA draft is on Thursday. We pretty much know who picks number 1 through 4 will be, but former Seminole Jonathan Isaac will certainly hear his name in the top 10. Most mock drafts have him at either 6 to Orlando or 7 to Minnesota. And of course, that picks up where the free agent frenzy continues. Dwayne Wade leading towards picking up that $24 million player option to remain with the Bulls for one more season, while the Cavs are looking to get even better and acquire either Paul George or Jimmy Butler from the Bulls.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello. Thanks for tuning to the program. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online at ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything. If you already missed something, hey, hang in there. Go get caught up at your leisure. All 3 hours going to be posted either way, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. That's a good thing. Go find it. Listen in with limited commercial interruption. Thanks to our great podcast sponsor, CarltonDean.com. Email the show if you like. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameron.show. WTSM app works for your mobile devices. And also find the show on YouTube. Type in ESPN Tallahassee and subscribe on YouTube. It'll populate every day and it'll let you know with a little alert. How's that working? We good today? We good over there?
Yeah, a little shaky to start, but we're okay.
I think it's the daily shakiness to start, right?
Everything was A-okay yesterday. Maybe it's just something about that 3 p.m. window when we did the pregame show. No problems. Postgame show, no problems.
Odd. I'm not nervous in the slightest about tomorrow. By the way, speaking of tomorrow, we'll play tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, against LSU, who got absolutely lampooned last night by Oregon State. And so now Florida State takes on LSU in a rematch. Of course, the Noles let one get away the first go-around here with an opportunity now to eliminate LSU. That'd be kind of sweet. I don't have any animosity towards LSU. It's just I want to keep winning, obviously. And I was more nervous for the first game than I am this next game. I don't know why that is, but we'll be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for another watch party. I understand midweek, can be tough, but if you're out and about, want to get a good bite to eat and just relax and watch the game, we'll be there, enjoying ourselves, and hopefully watching yet another Florida State win. I do feel like that win yesterday, to some degree, takes the sting out of the loss, and maybe you get to a place where, I dare say, if you win one more game, and again, I don't like to settle. I want to win the whole thing. Those players want to win the whole thing. Obviously, the coaches are there not to lose. They want to win the whole thing. But when you get out to Omaha and you want to play well, you want to represent the university well, you want to kind of put a cherry on top of a season, I think if you get to the weekend, you eliminate a team, you're still standing, you've won 2 games out there, Everything else is kind of gravy after that.
Hell, you'll have eliminated 2 teams at that point because you sent Fullerton home packing as O2 and barbecue winners again for the 4th straight appearance in Omaha for them. That's a note that you shared yesterday that I don't know everybody's aware of, but that is 9 straight losses for Cal State Fullerton
in the College World Series.
Trips to the College World Series. So that means that they've had 4 consecutive O2 barbecue trips out there. That's rough. Yeah, I guess, but I think the moment, if it happens that we win tomorrow night, then I think I'll feel differently about Friday. Right now it's let's just win this one tomorrow and worry about the next one. But as soon as it happens, then I want the next one as much as I want this one because I want to get to that best of 3. I mean, that's one thing.
Oh, well, then you're on the cusp of winning a national championship, sir. So, yes, that is ideal.
Beyond the obvious. We've never gotten to do that. You know what I mean? Like, they've done everything there is to do in the game of college baseball, but the format has changed. And since the format changed from a one-off for the championship to a best 2 out of 3, we haven't been there. And that's got its own dynamic. It blends, an element of the professional game. It blends a super regional with the feeling of Omaha. I mean, it's...
Well, I was resentful for all the years that it was a one-off. Obviously, we got out there and lost one of those games by a run, and anybody can win a baseball game. And that was really, I always thought, a silly way to decide your national champion. I understand from a financial standpoint, a monetary reason, why college baseball's postseason is set up the way that it is. It's just not ideal. And so I was really one who embraced, and I think most people did, even though it means you're out there for a long time. If you're actually covering the event or going as a fan, you can be out there for 12, 13 days, but playing best 2 out of 3 is the way to do the final round.
I know this sounds crazy given that, we had a 3-error play and then we had a runner score on us from first base and, the first inning or second inning or whatever it was on Saturday. And then last night you have an absolute pasting against LSU. That's what Oregon State does. But I feel like college baseball, the product that's been put on the field for the College World Series has been solid.
Good. It's been good.
It's watchable. It's not one of those where I'm enjoying Florida State and our quest to do something, but the product compared to, say, the professional game, it's completely different, and I can't bear to watch it unless I'm seeing garnet and gold on the field. No, you know what? The College World Series has been entertaining to watch so far.
I find that college baseball is moving in the right direction in general regarding that. Now, again, like you said, there was a 3-error play, and there was a runner who scored on a wild pitch from first base. So these are things that aren't going to happen in the pro game. So it is still at times, there are at times, I should say, healthy reminders that the college game is the college game. But I think by and large, the overall product in college baseball has improved quite a bit, even over the last 10 years. And I think that's certainly because it's a more like-minded, or I should say the approach to the game is similar to that, offensively to that of the pros, ever since the bats have become deadened.
Well, and also the seams are lowered on the baseball, too, and I think that's helped from a standpoint of watching pitches and watching pitchers work counts. You're seeing more similar velocities. You're seeing more similar breaks on pitches. They don't tumble to the ground the way they did with the raised seams and the air resistance. I know that's kind of getting into the weeds scientifically speaking. But, I mean, the game fundamentally with the way the bats were and the baseballs were was just different. It was constructed different. You had trampolines in the center and the sweet spot of the bats, which were much larger than the wooden or ash bats that we're used to watching in the pros. And then you had a baseball that you could grip better. And so it would have a better tumbling action, but not as much velocity out of a pitcher's hand for a fastball. So they've done about all they can do short of actually using wooden bats, to make this game look like a professional style game. And I think you're right. I think the quality of it has been good too. I mean, even if you go back to some of our regional games that we played, I mean, how about that first one against Tennessee Tech?
The 3-1 game?
The 3-1 game. I mean, the 2 Sunday games that we played, even the UCF game was a tightly played baseball game. The product itself is more watchable. And sometimes, being that we're in the sports media field, you can step outside what you're covering and say, is this good? Like, do people actually like this outside of us having to watch it and fans caring about their university? And I think the answer has largely been yes. It's actually more watchable than it was, you're right, 5-10 years ago.
Received an email and also interaction from people over the years who used to tell me, I just can't do it, Jeff. I can hear the excitement in your voice. At least there's a passion there, so I put up with it when you're talking college baseball, even though it's not my cup of tea. Those people have kind of been won over because of the uptick in quality of play. It's not our job to sell college baseball. It's certainly our job to talk about it when a local team is in the College World Series. But, yeah, I always understood that there was an element of our fan base, our listenership, that was turning off as soon as we started talking college baseball. I got it. And it's a risk you take to cover a local team that you care about in the College World Series. You know that you're going to alienate people who say don't care about Florida State or don't care about college baseball or both. But you know, that's a risk you take when one of the teams is out there. I think now there are a lot of people who maybe were in that camp that watch just because it is fun to watch. It's gotten better. The quality of the games are better.
Yeah, one thing I would say, and this is nothing new. This has been a problem since day one and in the new park. But if you could move the fences in, 10 feet, maybe just 10 feet.
Well, we're seeing balls leave the yard out here this year.
You are, but there are a couple of balls, especially yesterday, in both sides for Fullerton and Florida State in the early game, that are tattooed. And what? It's barely a warning track fly? I mean, the one that Mendoza hits, off the bat, you think, holy cow, how far is that going to fly? And it barely gets over the wall. The one that Busby hits on a curveball. Then there are a couple of loud outs to the power alleys for both teams, and you think, boy, that's in the gap, and that's trouble. But, I mean, it feels like you have to do something Herculean.
That said, we've had years where there was a total, as we noted, with just 3 home runs for the whole tournament. There was 2 in our game. Last night you had a grand slam, first ever out there. We're starting to see it. I mean, it's you got to earn it. You got to earn it.
It's like playing in RFK when the Nationals first moved back from from Montreal, and then they were playing in RFK as their ballpark was being built. I mean, really, you have to change your expectations. If that ball's tanked, you're thinking, well, hopefully it's a double.
Yeah,
and if it leaves the yard,
because
because the wind was blowing out yesterday. What I'm saying is, watch out. That's with the wind blowing out to left center yesterday.
Sure.
If it's coming in, then this is going to turn into the same complaint fest that we've watched for other teams when they're in the Final 8 year after year after year, where their fan bases are saying, I mean, what are we doing here? It's singles or nothing because these guys can play in.
That ended up being a maddening tournament to watch because a lot of the bunts, the things that had to happen with everybody playing for one run. By the way, plenty of people weighing in last hour when we noted the over-unders for the ACC. I didn't touch on the other schools. I want to rapid fire ask your opinion on this. I'll throw it out there, give you mine immediately. Virginia Tech at 8.5, I'm going under. North Carolina at 7, I'm going over. NC State at 6.5, I'm going over. Pitt at 6.5, going under. Georgia Tech 6 under. Virginia 5.5 under. Wake Forest, who cares? Duke, who cares? BC, who cares? Syracuse, who cares? All right, so there you go. You like that?
Well, I think you might want to get on the Cavs train. I think they can work maybe 6 wins out of this season, maybe 7. It's just here's the Coastal loses so many quarterbacks. So the ACC in general
does. That's part of the larger conversation looking at the win totals. It's less about, we joke about the gambling. This is more about what the ACC is going to look like this year, which is going to look more like the SEC did last year because the SEC had a dearth of quarterback play or quality quarterback play. So instead, you ended up just kind of watching a lot of defensive struggles and poor quarterback play. The ACC had an abundance of really talented quarterbacks last year, the best collection of QBs in the country, and now you'd say there's a considerable dearth.
So, yeah, what do you make of it? Out in the Coastal, who is going to pick up that slack given that there's a lot out there?
Miami's supposed to. Miami's defensive line and linebackers in particular, I think, are really talented. I think if you're going to question something with Miami, you'd look in the secondary. And then, of course, you got to see what the new quarterback brings to the table. But look, that's a team that should be better, and they've got every opportunity in the world to win the Coastal. If they can't win it this year, again, I do this every year with Miami, and it's not even me just taking my shots at Miami because I can and because it's fun and because it's necessary. But seriously, why shouldn't they win the Coastal? When you look at that, you're right to bring up how suspect that division is right now. They ought to.
Well, and that was the reason that people would hail the ACC last year as the best conference in college football is because the quarterback play across the board was so much better than the other conferences when you're talking about the depth of talent, and then you combine the fact that in the trenches we're competing. We may not be on the level of the SEC when it comes to defensive lines and
across the board,
top
right,
to bottom in the conference, who has the deeper roster. The SEC still probably has that, but we were close enough, and quarterback play was good enough. Now this year, I'm just looking on the Coastal side, and I'm saying, okay, well, is it Fedora's system out at North Carolina that's going to allow them to not fall off a whole bunch?
Well, he always loses a game he shouldn't anyhow.
Is it Fuente's acumen as an up-and-coming coordinator and developer of quarterbacks that we like Virginia Tech to not fall off as much as we think? Is it Mark Richt for the same reasons? I mean, who is going? Is it Paul Johnson because he runs that crazy stuff?
No, it's not Paul Johnson.
Well, whenever you least expect it, that's when he breaks out a 9 or 10
well,
win season.
But after he has a good season, then he falls back off again. They had a good season last year, so they can go ahead and fall the hell off again.
But somebody's going to pick up that slack, is my point.
I think it's Miami.
Because of the skill outside of the quarterback position,
I think Miami's got more talent than the teams that we're mentioning. I think, and now they're better coached. They're better coached than they were. So I think the combination of that, even if the quarterback is average, I think defensively they're going to win a lot of games in this conference because they have more talented players, and I think that they are now competently coached. I think Miami can easily win the Coastal, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And what I like about that opportunity is it gives us a chance to beat them twice in the same year. And the beauty of that is obviously if we could expedite the Platinum Bohica, well, I'm all for it. But, boy, would that make us nervous going into the next year down in Miami.
Well, that tells everybody what you think about the Coastal because you picked the under, saying that 8-4 is more likely than 10-2.
Well, I was just being kind of a jerk.
But 8-4 is going to win the Coastal. Then it's the same old Coastal.
Same old Coastal. Ohio State's at 10.5. Wisconsin is at 10.5. Give me the under on Wisconsin.
Every year.
Penn State is at 10. 10. Says Vegas, huh?
They got a lot returning.
Michigan lost every player that ever played for the school. Literally, they can't find him anywhere. There's nobody left on the football team. 8.5.
That's all about that first week against Florida. You get that win, and you're ahead of the curve, Michigan.
Big 12 has Oklahoma at 10. If you want to take the over, they'll give you $5 plus 105. Trying to dangle it out there.
Well, the new coach situation, that muddles the works.
Oklahoma State's at 9. I was curious what Texas was at. They're the ones. They're the team with the new head coach who's annoying, talks a lot, brash, has to come in and win, make an impact right off the bat. Their over-under is at 7.5. Wow. Woo!
It's not like Saban had a banner year his first year in Alabama.
Hard times at Texas. Setting over-under at 7.5. Good Lord. Baylor has seen the entirety of the program either convicted of or accused of rape, and they're at 8. That's crazy. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford. The place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Vendors mixing up cocktails sourced with local ingredients. Wednesday night is ladies' night with free champagne from 9 till 11. For catering and private parties, give them a call at 727-8284.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
O'Reilly. When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now that summer is here, beat the heat on the water. The Wilderness Way has daily or weekly rental of touring, recreational, and fishing kayaks. If you've been wanting to try kayak fishing, Real Fin Addict can put you on the water with all the equipment, including Hobie Mirage Drive kayak and guide to fish for trout, redfish, flounder, and tarpon. Wilderness Way, 3152 Shadeville Road, Crawfordville. Call them at 877-7200 and visit them online at wildernessway.net. Get out on the water.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shop's work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. How do I convey to you just how good the incentives and discounts are on America's fastest growing car company, Nissan? Seriously, please shop Kraft Nissan before you buy. No one has the incentives and low prices we have. Not Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Honda, or Hyundai. $5,800 in savings on Altima SR. Brand new automatic Frontier pickup starting at just $21,800. 0% interest for 72 months on our most popular models. Rebates up to $10,000 and no payments until football season. I'm telling you, in the over 30 years I've been in the car business, I've never seen such incentives and low prices. I've got pages and pages of special interest rates, rebates, and bonus cash. Kraft Nissan even has a factory rebate for any credit score under 625 to help you with your down payment. Here's the deal. Nissan is America's fastest growing car company, and they want to be number one, and they're buying market share. So please, before you buy, check out Kraft Nissan's exciting lineup of new vehicles. That's all I ask. Stop by Kraft Nissan and look. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes dealer preparation charge.
Go check out the brand new and recently remodeled Canal Street Crepe Company on Monroe, formerly known as Crepefine. Locally owned with cru de gras and open daily for breakfast at 7 a.m. all the way until 8 p.m., they proudly serve Lucky Goat coffee, along with espresso, cappuccinos, lattes, and more. Why not choose healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinner made just for you? Canal Street Crepe has just added soups, plus grab-and-go mason jar salads, along with a full line of Zapp's chips. Catering is available. Canal Street Crepe Company, 1304 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-0378.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I was just looking at Twitter responses. David writes, at Jay Cameron Show, watch the last showdown video. I wanted to punch the arrogant ass Bama insider in the nuts. Hashtag a-hole. Well, there we go. There we go.
Hashtag a-hole.
There you go. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, David. He's referencing on War Chant a series of 7 previews that included the folks from Bama Insider as well as the fine folks at warchant.com, in which I was the driver. And you know, I mean, hey, I suppose that's the response that they're wanting, right?
What are you saying? You trolling for opinion clicks or something?
Not me. I was the driver. I didn't do that.
So did you drive this ship into a place where it could be trolled for opinion clicks, sir?
Well, I asked the man his opinion, and he gave it. And his opinion was that Alabama's going to beat the bejesus out of Florida State. And I knew as soon as he said it, I thought to myself as soon as he said it, well, good night, Irene. Man, this guy here is going to get trolled big time by the Florida State faithful who find that opinion to be over-the-top arrogance.
was his opinion scripted like Max Kellerman's or Stephen A. Smith's on a daily basis, or you think he really believes that?
I think that he has probably been very influenced and overwhelmed by the transition from where he was in New Mexico to where he is now at Alabama. To go from covering what he was, and I'm not sliding him, nice guy, I think to seeing those athletes, to attending that spring game, to hearing Nick Saban talk, and to watch big-time college football probably is an undue influence, one that's maybe overriding more than he realizes. And I can understand that, and I'm sympathetic to that.
You know, the funny thing is, as you were describing that, because I had not seen this particular video yet, you know.
Well, I'm sure as soon as the show ends.
Well, you know, I can't believe I didn't get the alert on my phone.
I understand, yeah.
What the hell is wrong with my phone that I didn't get the alert?
Let's get it together over there, Tom.
But, you know, I don't think necessarily on June 20th that we're going to win that football game. But when I hear that, I go, now hang on a damn minute.
Yeah, you rise up.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, you rise up a little bit there.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure that's what they're hoping for. So maybe by principle, I should just, wait till the next video and click on that one. But seriously, you're going to beat the bejesus out of us? Hang on just a damn minute. Our defense can play a little bit of football right now.
I want to return to this conversation about Florida State, Alabama in a second, but I also want to admit something since we're on the subject of people responding on Twitter about things. Do you remember, I'm sure you've had this happen to you. I don't know if it was with this specific person or not, but maybe. Jose Bautista's Twitter, whoever runs it, follows everybody. So the player, Jose Bautista, like 2 years ago, it popped up on my Twitter feed. I got fooled by this. I've learned my lesson, and it's applicable to today, and I'll tell you why. So like 2 years ago, I was like, look at that. Jose Bautista just followed me. I wonder how he found out about me. And I was thinking, because I didn't look to see how many people he was following, so I got completely duped. And I literally had the arrogance and the ego for at least 5 minutes to think, well, he is a former Pirate. I've probably said some insightful things at some point that he read and maybe realized that, I'd be a good follow. So I was believing that Jose Bautista was following me because of me and not some media handler that just followed anybody that was a talk show host or in the media at all, including some slappy writer in, the middle of nowhere, Alabama. Like Bautista follows everybody. So this morning, I'm checking the news, which is what I largely use Twitter for, just to see what I missed while I was sleeping the night before. Not so much to look at mentions, just to see, what happened? Did something terrible happen in the world, which seemingly does every night while I'm asleep? Or did something in sports break that I'm going to need to cover? So I thought, well, let's go and look here and see what we got. And the first thing that popped up was that Soledad O'Brien was now following me.
News person.
Yes. And I'll be honest with you, I think Soledad's hot as hell. I always have.
Really?
Yeah, I've always thought she was very pretty.
Oh boy, that's an all or nothing thing. That's a camp there. Somebody thinks as you do, or they think no way.
I don't think she is anymore. Something happened along the way, but early on in her career, was a big Soledad.
All right,
O'Brien.
I'm gonna Google search early on Soledad O'Brien and see what
just
happens.
wait till we get a break. I'll show you some good Soledad.
Do not put it on the webcam.
So I had a thing for Soledad back in the day. Anyhow, moreover, I respected her as a journalist. And so I get up this morning, and the first thing I see is that Soledad O'Brien is following me. And I was like, all right, Soledad is following me. That's right, baby. Come on board. So disrespectful for somebody who says that I have respect for her work. And I'm like,
moreover, beyond the fact that I got a thing for her, I think she's actually a halfway decent journalist.
All right, sweet cheeks, come on down. Yeah, no, it was ridiculous. Like, I was all over So Soledad followed, and then I looked and saw that she follows 329,000 people. Oh, man.
Hey, but you made the cut.
Soledad O'Brien is following 329,000 people. Great, I'm one of them. One of 329,000. Damn it, man.
She actually said hi to you personally. Check your mentions.
She did not. We'll take a break right now. That's what we'll go to commercial break right now.
Check your mentions.
Oh, that's funny. All right. So anyhow, the point is, I know what you did, Tom. But I'll laugh during the break. But I almost got duped. But thanks to Jose Bautista, I went, wait a minute. You can't get this past me.
I think there's an algorithm, though, that because didn't Bautista play locally here? Was he not TCC, but he was somewhere around here. Community college?
Chipola or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah. So maybe it could be that, in the area where they might need to do a media hit or something like that, they just, follow everybody in that area. Because Paul LaDuca followed me, and
you're like, all right, Paul LaDuca.
Well, he's a Met,
Paulie.
He was
and Dodger,
but he played a while for the Mets, so I figured maybe there are keywords in people's profiles
good picture
that they
of
pick.
Soledad, by the way.
She's saying hello to you.
Looking good there. What's wrong with you, buddy?
Yeah, well, in that photo, sure,
She looks good.
Yeah,
Period.
they did good.
No.
The photographers and the Photoshop
stop.
people.
You had a wrong. I'll show you some Soledad now. We'll go to break. I'll find you some.
Anyway, LaDuca followed me maybe 13 times in a 3-week span. I for whatever reason.
Good. Couldn't get enough of Tom Lane. You're like, easy, Paul LaDuca.
No, the program, I guess.
Sir, I am taken.
The program would unfollow and follow. I guess that maybe they outsourced to a certain kind of program so that
he wasn't getting the response that he wanted. So he's like, well, I'll re-follow him. Maybe he didn't notice it the last time. I'll unfollow, follow again. Maybe he'll see the ding or hear the ding. Ding. Oh, Paul LaDuca's following me.
That bell cannot be unrung. I didn't follow back. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was personally Paul LaDuca.
He's like, Tom Lang, I'm Paul freaking LaDuca. Who are you?
63,000 people, but he wanted really my follow.
He's like, Tom, this is the 13th time I have unfollowed and followed you. Don't you worry, Soledad. I'll get back to you. You won't have to unfollow and follow me again. I'm in. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
School, he's keeping you comfortable. Very no school, you can put him to the test.
Spring is the perfect time to be outdoors enjoying the fresh air with friends and family. It's also the right time to make sure your air conditioning system is ready for the hot summer. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air to learn more about your financing options for every budget. Visit us today at baranoac.com. License number CAC 057652.
By the time that we got up there, his room was filled with smoke.
The wind had blown and drifted the snow up against the side of my house, blocking the exhaust from my furnace.
I heard the smoke alarm going off in my friend's apartment.
Without the kid's smoke alarm, my son would not be here today.
And had it not been for that carbon monoxide detector, they would come to school and not have their teacher there.
I grabbed my fire extinguisher and put out the fire.
Kidda makes technology that saves lives.
Get these essential products at your local retailer today.
There's no greater pain a parent can suffer than losing a child, and yet heat stroke deaths in hot cars are on the rise. The temperature inside a vehicle can reach deadly levels in just a few minutes. Leaving windows cracked does not help. These preventable deaths can occur even when the outside temperature is as low as 57 degrees. Never leave your baby or child in a vehicle, even for a short period, and always check the back seat before you get out of the car. Where's baby? Look before you lock. For more information, go to nhtsa.gov/heatstroke.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world. Roger that.
Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
Refreshment Services Pepsi announces that Kiana Redding has been chosen Employee of the Month. An accounts receivable specialist, Kiana's determination, dedication to her work, and outstanding performance reflect the true spirit of Pepsi. Congratulations, Kiana.
Yeah, that was a good ending. What's another great ending to a movie?
Jaws. Smile, you son of a...
No. That's Jaws 2.
No, that's Jaws 1, man.
No, he shoots the thing, and it's Jaws 2, isn't it?
No, Jaws 2, he hits him with the electrical wire.
Oh, you're right. The electrical thing, he's holding it up, right? He's on the little raft.
He's on the raft.
You're right.
Zzz, and then that's it for Brody. He dies after that.
He doesn't die.
In Jaws 3, he's dead. He
he had a heart attack or something.
Yeah,
we don't see it on screen.
They don't show it on screen, but yeah, the Jaws killed him.
That's okay. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. The Noles hanging out in Omaha for a little bit longer. It's do or die the rest of the way as Florida State did awfully well last night with a 6-4 win against Cal State Fullerton. Now, Florida State will meet LSU in the elimination game Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The Tigers, who beat Florida State in the first round, were hammered by Oregon State yesterday. Today in Omaha, 2 games, Texas A&M and TCU in the elimination game, while the Florida Gators will take on Louisville. Both those teams won in their first game. Well, the NBA draft is on Thursday. We pretty much know who picks number 1 through 4 will be, but former Seminole Jonathan Isaac will certainly hear his name in the top 10. Most mock drafts have him at either 6 to Orlando or 7 to Minnesota. And of course, that picks up where the free agent frenzy continues. Dwayne Wade leading towards picking up that $24 million player option to remain with the Bulls for 1 more season, while the Cavs are looking to get even better and acquire either Paul George or Jimmy Butler from the Bulls.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you're well. Also, thanks to you, my Twitter followers, who send me, these days, quite frequently, a photo of a sign nearby, wherever they are, that shows where the Asian massage parlors exist. Specifically.
See, out of context, that sounds awful.
But there is context. It's called The Radio Show, and if people want to take the time to figure out whether or not they should be angry, they can go back and catch up. But it is funny. It's become now, well, it's also the ongoing years worth of themes involving sharks eating people that we celebrate, or the thin the herd mentality that has been discussed on numerous occasions. But I just saw one the other day in which a shark took somebody out, and I thought, well, you're swimming by a coral reef. A lot of times that happens, Tom. These guys, they get to moping about there on the coral reef, and they kind of swim a little too far away, and bam,
You're saying there's some sort of correlation there.
Oh, I don't know. But if you're anywhere near Australia,
just don't go in the water.
Just try to avoid it. My brother lived in Australia for 3 years, and he's an avid surfer. And I don't think he surfed, but maybe once or twice. Maybe. He'll have to tell me. But I think he always thought, not so much. Not here in Australia. As much as I'd like to. I'm sure the surfing's good there. That's why so many people risk their lives to do it. I can't, you know what video I can't get enough of is that guy getting attacked that happened years ago, getting attacked by 2 great whites simultaneously, and he lived because they knocked each other out of the way. It's on film. You've never seen it?
No, I have not.
Dude surfing. He gets to the top of the wave. 2 great whites from opposite directions come at him at the same time. There's something about him that, and they're going for it. Bam! He goes flying off the board. 2 massive great whites kind of knock each other off of getting him. They hurt his hand, but that's about it.
That's it?
That's it.
Just a little scrape on the hand.
Yeah, he made it back to shore on time. You can find that video. It's everywhere. It was like in Surfing Magazine or something. Yeah, this guy gets tagged by 2 great whites at the same time, and then they freeze frame it right at the moment of impact, and you could see the 1 great white, and it wasn't until they went back and looked at the video again that they realized there were 2. Holy moly. Imagine, it's bad enough. There you are, but then 2.
If you had to choose between, and I'm sorry, you're just putting this predicament, it's like Saw for the Jeff Cameron Show. And in order for everybody that you hold dear in this world to continue on, you had to choose either swimming outside the coral reef.
Oh.
Yep. Or you had to walk across a beam at 116 stories.
No, I'll swim the reef.
Okay.
Although I'm not a fan either one. That is terrible. I get sweaty palms thinking about the idea of on the beam. What am I up? 100 and something feet? That's
116 stories.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
And the beam is, well, let's say 18 inches wide. That's not too bad.
I've gotten worse about that situation, meaning heights. I've gotten way worse. I can't even watch these things now. Have you seen these biplanes where people get on them and they strap themselves in and they're on top of the plane on the wing, and then they go like a stunt pilot goes up and spins all around while they're sitting in a chair? No. Because here's the weird thing. In several of those videos, there's 2 people in the biplane, right? They're just going along. The one that gets out has to then get out onto the wing. He's not strapped on to nothing. He's got to climb up while they're flying and get in the chair and then strap himself in. It's so uncomfortable watching it. I almost stroke out watching it. I can't even do it.
Okay. So let's say,
it's the worst.
Somebody had tickets to say the Pensacola Air Show. You're going to be in Pensacola or something, and they have that show where they do little stunts like that.
I can stand on the ground and watch that, yes.
You could? Okay. So you're not to that point yet.
No. I can watch that, and there's even probably a weird part of me that wants that guy to fall. But because when you do dumb things, I kind of want it's like the guy that sticks his head in the crocodile's mouth. Have you seen that video that's going around right now?
I can guess what happens.
Right. Exactly. We all can. We all know exactly what is going to happen. Why didn't that dumbass? He probably ought not be here. More resources for the rest of us. That's it. If you stick your head into the jaws of a crocodile while talking to a crowd and you think nothing's going to happen, no, man. You got to go. I'm rooting for your head to be ripped off in front of that crowd. Now, again, there are levels of rooting. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking of, my buddy Brian back in high school, who incidentally, I haven't seen him in 4 or 5 years, but he works across the street. I know where he works thanks to social media and stalking. And he
stick his head in between the jaws of a crocodile?
No. It's a much lesser, it's much less dangerous. It's still dangerous, though. And so it's high school freshman year, and there's this one building in my high school CCC where you can walk up the stairs and to the right, but it's outdoors, and then it gets you to the second level. And it actually looks like something out of an old video game. So, it's all outdoors, but then it has a high wall, probably about, 4.5, 5 feet high.
Right.
So he climbed at the plateau as you get to the second story out on that little ledge. And for money, he jumped off the ledge to the first, to the grass below. And I don't know why any of us, wanted to see that. But I think now you're right. You hit it on the head because you want to see something spectacularly awful happen,
yes.
even though you don't want anything bad to happen to the kid. But he did it for $10. He jumped out of a 2-story building, to the grass below for $10.
Did he hurt himself?
Not badly. He didn't break anything.
But you're kind of rooting for a broken ankle.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. I'm just admitting what people feel inside. They don't ever say it, but they do. They root for people doing dumb things to have a result like that occur because it's just dumb.
So what was I hoping for? Him to stick the landing and, do an army roll and then stand up and say,
go,
ta-da? Yeah, no. Nobody's rooting for that.
No, you're rooting to see a knee get blown out so you can go, hey, dumbass, why'd you do that? When I watch any of these videos of the people in Russia, for whatever reason, these guys that are climbing 100 stories and more and then dangling off the side while another person is also dangling off the side so that they can film them, I'm rooting for that guy to slip. I think it's going to be pretty funny when that guy goes from smiling doing pull-ups to slipping. Good night, Irene. For what? For what? For internet fame.
See, but that would be the title of the video if it happened. So when you're watching it, you know that he's not going to fall.
You know he's not going to fall?
Yeah, because then that would be the title of the video.
Would you click on it if you knew he did fall? If they said this video,
I can guess what you would do.
Yeah, you know exactly. I'm like, ooh, I couldn't click on it fast enough. All right, this dude's actually going to slip. Jonathan Isaac, according to Draft Express, to the Orlando Magic at 6th overall. Okay. Would we have to invest in the Orlando Magic? Would we start to focus in on the Orlando Magic?
At least they're on TV every game.
Nearby, we could go by. We could go over there and see them. Maybe forge a friendship, hang out in a limo. Just kidding.
Oh, you can't cheat on Michael Snare like that. When's the last time you and Michael have had lunch?
We haven't had lunch in a long time, And as much as that lunch was nice, and my many lunches with Luke Laux, who may be listening to the show, recently was with the Golden State Warriors, was Luke working for them, and who may got a ring. I don't know. I mean, he was doing he probably did get a ring.
He kissed the O'Brien Trophy the night of. I'm assuming he's going to get a ring.
Good stuff. And those are all great guys, but, not top 6 draft choices. 19 years old is Jonathan Isaac. 6'11", wingspan at 71 1/4, weight 205, and man, that's a future that if you're going to invest in any of these guys, can you imagine? He's 205 pounds at 6'11". He's going to be 255 pounds in 3 years, right?
Even if he's got the Durant-type metabolism and body frame going on, he'll be 230, right? Yeah, 230, 235.
I was trying to project out. When you see these guys, like Arizona has a freshman that's a 7-footer that's picked to go in the top 10. I don't want to give away because Maddie's got to guess country of origin. But he's 7 feet tall, 220 pounds. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's Bojo style,
That's ridiculous. That guy has got to put on at least 30 to 40 pounds over the course of his career, easily.
Well, even if it's just the man weight for Isaac, yeah, because he wants to operate in places that if he doesn't put on enough weight, then that's where the bust potential is.
Yeah.
That's where that bust potential is.
What do you think Malik Monk weighs, that your guy from Kentucky, the freshman that, we both like a lot, but what do you think he weighs?
$180?
He's 6'4". He's $195, more than you think. Yeah, so he's getting there. I always, listen, basketball players are amazing athletes, and most of the time as you watch their career advance, you see their physical specimens. It's amazing. But I do think to myself, golly, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, these guys are so young. You're right, just the natural progression, just putting on the man weight. When you're looking at guys 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet tall, to only be weighing 215, 220, that's remarkable.
I just think if you're outside the top 2 or 3 in this draft, what player has the highest upside and also, is going to be a hard-ass worker behind the scenes? More than Jonathan Isaac is the combination of those two things. He's going to be able, just by sheer height, create shots and looks for himself that he shouldn't be able to. And, he grew up as a 2-guard, and that's where he hit the massive growth spurt that put him in a position where he can look like a poor man's Kevin Durant. You have to take a chance on this guy. If you're drafting 5 to 10 and you have all of those elements, he's not afraid to go into the dirty areas close around the rim. He works really, really hard away from team practices. He works on his game on his own.
Right.
And then he has that body type. Yeah, absolutely.
the NBA draft to me, and I admit that we don't focus on the NBA draft the same way we do the NFL draft. We both love, and I think most people really love the NFL draft. What's happened with the NBA is, again, the watered-down product that is college basketball coupled with the international influence and the players that come from overseas from all around the world that you've never seen play. It makes it very difficult to get a handle on anything outside the top 2 or 3 American players. We've read about Fultz, obviously. Lonzo Ball, who, by the way, Lonzo Ball wasn't all that impressive in college. 14 points, 6 boards, 7 assists a game. He's okay. Lonzo Ball wasn't exactly guiding his team through the NCAA tournament and kicking ass. They didn't do a damn thing.
No, the UCLA factor has something to do with that. But projections are what they are, body types and such.
I'm saying if a guy doesn't leap off the page and dominate in a way, if you go back and look, I'm trying to think, so any of the freshmen in NCAA history that have led their teams to national titles, so you go back and you look at a Danny Manning or people like this over the years that went on amazing runs as freshmen and led their team to championships. Your boy with the Knicks, with Syracuse.
Carmelo.
Carmelo Anthony. Okay, so Carmelo Anthony is a lot of things, and he's greatly debated, but Carmelo Anthony led Syracuse to a national title. That's how good he was, right? Like that. He came in as a freshman, wins a national title, peace, I'm out. Lonzo Ball, you're like, Lonzo Ball, he doesn't strike you as special.
Well, and this is where, I hear this.
I'm not saying he won't be.
I'm hearing this constantly, and it's a tough time of year, I grant you, but I hear this constantly on Le Batard's show where they're, he's saying, you're complaining about us talking about LeBron James, sorry, he's the most interesting athlete of the time. And then on the other hand, they'll say that the NBA offseason is far more interesting than, the NBA season and playoffs are. I guess. But the draft isn't part of that.
Because we'll watch Jason Tatum, who we saw play. So he's a guy you recognize.
Yeah.
Josh Jackson from Kansas, who I like. We're starting to run thin. Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah, but they all go to markets where they're not going to matter. They're not going to charge a playoff run in the next 2 or 3 seasons to challenge Golden State or Cleveland. So who or the Spurs? So who gives a damn?
So if Dennis Smith ends up in Dallas, or if Malik Monk ends up with the New York Knicks, which these are all possible scenarios, of course. If Phoenix takes Josh Jackson, who I like, which a lot of people think they will at 4th overall, it's not going to matter. You're not going to suddenly go, look at Phoenix.
Well, it's like, okay, best case scenario, they have a couple of pieces plus Josh Jackson or whoever in whatever market. They get to 47 wins. They make the playoffs. Whoop-de-freaking do. They're going to get swept by the Spurs. They're going to get swept by the Warriors. They're going to get swept by the Cavs.
But, I do think, in theory, you can understand why people would be interested, because basketball more than football. Right, even if you take a quarterback in the NFL, like the Bucs did with Jameis Winston, if you're a terrible team, if you went 2-14 the year before, a quarterback is not coming in and making you a playoff team. I think we get excited because you realize probably within 2 years whether or not that quarterback has the potential to make you a team. You can probably recognize that in year 1. I think we both thought that you probably can. In theory, with only 5 starters on the floor, if you get a transcendent player, somebody who can create off the bounce, create his own shot, can do all those things, has the body type, then you ought to be able to influence. We saw during the Lakers-Celtics best of enemies 30 for 30 that Larry Bird comes into a Boston team winning 20-something games. They turn around and win 61 games.
Yeah, I hear you. But
you should be able to flip with a superstar.
Yeah, you should be able. Well, I think in this day and age, you flip a team to become a 3 or a 4 seed. And then you have the right to get swept by the super teams. That's the thing. It's not – they're not spread out. I mean, Steph Curry was an absolute surprise, and we mention this every year.
Yeah.
He's a guy that when you looked at him as a draft prospect, you said, good luck, runt. You're going to get pushed around.
The rules changed help him immeasurably. It's crazy. Yes.
In this day and age, he has benefited more than most any other player with that amount of talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't put your hands on him, right?
But he's a freaking superstar, and he was part of the process to put Golden State to where it is. That comes out of nowhere, and it's almost self-evident. I remember he dropped 50 at the Garden, before they went on their run. And I remember you talking about, I'm watching Golden State a lot
because they're
later
fun.
at night.
They were fun.
They're fun to watch.
Sure, yeah.
But it's got to get a year or two later. Like the NBA draft by itself doesn't inspire hope the way the NFL draft does for its league. The NFL draft, if you get the quarterback, if you're, a Tennessee Titans fan or a Bucs fan from 2 drafts ago, you say, okay, well, I at least have a reason to
Hang the
believe
hat on,
that in 5 years we can be a playoff team. If I'm the T-Wolves and I have the first overall pick,
They're
and it's
kind of
Wiggins,
fun to watch, though. It's weird.
Yeah, but am I scaring an NBA title anytime soon?
No, and that's what's changed, though. I do think you ought to be able to say, if I'll just use the Celtics as an example. They're putting together nice pieces. They have a chance in free agency to bring in a couple of A-star, right, a bona fide star already. And then let's say they draft Jason Tatum. I'm just using him because we saw him play, and he'll be there at 3. I mean, you would like to, if he truly is maybe not a transcendent player the way that LeBron and so few are, but I mean a player that is impactful, you would think a team like that would be really close, but we don't feel that way.
No, because it takes like guys in their prime.
Super team, yeah.
They're all in their prime. There's no more development factor to it.
Yeah. Final hour, forthcoming. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic, backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
What about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
O'Reilly. When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Go check out the brand new and recently remodeled Canal Street Crepe Company on Monroe, formerly known as Crepefine. Locally owned with Cru de Gras and open daily for breakfast at 7 a.m. all the way until 8 p.m., they proudly serve Lucky Goat coffee, along with espresso, cappuccinos, lattes, and more. Why not choose healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinner made just for you? Canal Street Crepe has just added soups, plus grab-and-go mason jar salads, along with a full line of Zapp's chips. Catering is available. Canal Street Crepe Company, 1304 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-0378.
Milwaukee brings on the power. New high-demand 9-amp-hour batteries to power those demanding cordless applications. Purchase a 9-amp-hour starter kit battery and charger and receive a cordless skill saw or Sawzall for only $249, a $490 value if purchased separately. Check out the e-rebate when you buy Milwaukee Sawzall blades and hole saws. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, the largest Milwaukee selection in the area. Big store pricing with local service. 2 locations, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 32 569 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
You can't get any fresher than your own vegetable garden. Right now at the Home Depot, 1 gallon Bonnie veggies and herbs are not only as fresh as you can get, but you can get 3 of them for only $12. That's not only thinking green, that's saving green. So, pass the salad and stop and smell the rosemary. It's easy when you fill your cart with 1 gallon Bonnie veggies and herbs. 3 for just $12, now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through July 4th, Continental U.S. only. See store for details.
Staples knows that when the leave-behinds for your sales call get left behind at your office, it's time. When you need to print 30 pages and you're 300 miles from the office, it's time. And when the intern packed the Harrington file, not the Farrington file.
Oh, my bad.
It's definitely time. And it's times like these when you can count on Staples. Access your files from email, the cloud, or USB, and then print, copy, fax, or scan them, and get back to business fast. Visit your nearby Staples. It's pro time.
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. The Noles hanging out in Omaha for a little bit longer. It's do or die the rest of the way as Florida State did awfully well last night with a 6-4 win against Cal State Fullerton. Now, Florida State will meet LSU in the elimination game Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The Tigers, who beat Florida State in the first round, were hammered by Oregon State yesterday. Today in Omaha, 2 games, Texas A&M and TCU in the elimination game, while the Florida Gators will take on Louisville. Both those teams won in their first game. Well, the NBA draft is on Thursday. We pretty much know who picks number 1 through 4 will be, but former Seminole Jonathan Isaac will certainly hear his name in the top 10. Most mock drafts have him at either 6 to Orlando or 7 to Minnesota. And of course, that picks up where the free agent frenzy continues. Dwayne Wade leading towards picking up that $24 million player option to remain with the Bulls for 1 more season, while the Cavs are looking to get even better and acquire either Paul George or Jimmy Butler from the Bulls.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning in. Good to be with you. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always. Don't miss anything. But, hey, if you do, we got you all 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. That's a good thing. It's brought to you with limited commercial interruption. When you go and find it, you'll note that is done thanks to our great podcast sponsor, Carlton Dean, and his fine folks, Southland Commercial, informing you about commercial real estate deals, income-producing properties, even off-market deals. Go to carltondean.com to learn more. You can email the show if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. You can find me on Twitter at jcameronshow. WTSM app for your mobile devices. And I would also note that we're on YouTube. Thanks for watching, everybody. On the YouTube feed, type in ESPN Tallahassee. You'll be good to go. I just was looking at something. You know Craig Kimbrell, closer these days with the Boston Red Sox. Were you aware of the dominance?
Yes.
Woo! He's faced 111 batters this year, and he struck out 59 of them, which is pretty insane. Only 46 balls have been put in play by the 111 batters that he's faced. Opponents are hitting .086 against Craig Kimbrell. These would be all-time records if it continues.
Yeah, the statistics for right-handed hitters as well basically say don't even get in the box.
Don't bother.
Just stay in the dugout and, sacrifice it. Say, I forfeit my out.
I guess that in a microcosm is sort of the dilemma people find with baseball today. A good Verducci article that was written that came out this afternoon or this morning, if you want to read more on that. Every year there's a pet cause in baseball. By the way, the Noles taking on tomorrow LSU in the College World Series. We'll watch that game at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Another watch party, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. I'll touch on that momentarily. That's more the lead than this is. But since I started down this path, allow me to continue. This idea that, listen, you have a combination of home runs and strikeouts and a whole lot of nothing else. If you throw that in with pace of play, which some people seem to have a problem with more than others, then you have a threat to the future of the game. And every year there's a pet cause for the various leagues that fans take on or that journalists take on, if you'll notice. And this year's, it's that we don't have enough true outcomes or things that are interesting in the game of baseball. That is to say, action. Balls being put in play, runners running bases, catches being made, etc., to keep people locked in, especially in a day and age where people's attention spans are shorter thanks to technology, and that baseball may not be appealing as they move forward. This has been an ongoing discussion, but he uses as an example, does Verducci, something that I would concede is a problem and has been for a little while now in baseball, but I always feel like baseball kind of writes itself, figures it out. June the 2nd, so this month, there was a game between the Dodgers and the Brewers. It was a 2-1 game in 11 innings. That on the surface you would say that's a good baseball game, 2-1, 1-run, outcome there. But as it turned out, there was a 4-hour game played in which 90 batters came to the plate. 40 of them put the ball in play. Once every 6 minutes, a ball was put in play. 9 pitchers, all of which threw at least 93 or above, so most of them reached 95, 98, 99, 100 on the radar gun, including Clayton Kershaw. Struck out a National League record 42 batters in this baseball game, 42 Ks. Nobody got a hit in 13 attempts with runners in scoring position. All 3 runs scored on solo home runs, and that was that. So, 4-hour game, 90 batters, 40 of them put it in play, a record-breaking 42 strikeouts, and the only way a run is scored is on a solo home run. Yeah, that's bad for baseball. That I'll concede is not a good day at the ballpark, where you're spending, maybe once every 7-8 minutes or so, you look up and somebody's put a ball in play. Not necessarily a hit, just somebody's put a ball in play. Yeah, it's not good.
I can tell you, I watched a team that is built like that. It's a team that is built on home runs. It's not about stealing bases. It's not about going first to third. Certainly not about range factor on defense, so it's not like they're even, fast in the field. And, when things are going right, the pitching staff is built on strikeouts. So There it is. There it absolutely is. The whole approach offensively of the team that I watch, doesn't matter that's the Mets. They work walks, they hit home runs, station to station on the base paths, and then they want to strike you out. And I watch a lot of games like this where I go, well, good God.
Nothing's happening, yeah.
I'm okay if we're up 6-1, but I can still be up to 6-1 and go, this isn't exactly, what I grew up watching in the 90s, where there are elements always, and that was the National League, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But there's always elements about what count should you steal in, should you bunt here.
Hit and runs were commonplace.
Absolutely.
The stolen base. Guys like Ricky Henderson did everything.
You had to pinch hit or you had to make something happen before you got to the pitcher spot because you didn't want to take him out of the game. All these types of things. And really, a lot of these decisions are already made for the manager because there's nobody on base at the time.
He's brought up the fact, kind of what you're talking about, and I agree about this, that the beauty of baseball isn't just in its action necessarily, but it's the anticipation of action, right? And that is the interlude that you get that allows friends to talk, a pondering of strategies that you just did, outcomes that come next, and the hope, that the extended rally can happen based on these decisions being made to put a runner in motion, to all of these kinds of things, and it's disappearing. And what's replacing that game is fans or I should say teams and players whose strategy you would say is power obsessed.
Well, and it's the right strategy if you look at the numbers. So that's the hard part. You're at an impasse here. What are you going to tell teams to do? Something that's less beneficial to them over the long run? You can't do that either. But I think, we're watching the game yesterday in studio. We do our 1 hour lead-up show from 1 to 2 o'clock, and then we're watching the College World Series game. And the best part of watching that was that, for 4 or 5 different circumstances, because you're watching it in your studio, I'm watching it on my side, then sometimes we'd meet outside or we'd bounce around. I think it was more to, shake up the mojo, especially when we were losing. We'd move a little bit more than we did when things were fine. But we're talking about, all right, what pitch are you looking for here? And what would you do here with the runner? I mean, we're having the real baseball conversation. Which is the fun
baseball conversation, which is why that game has always been considered a thinking man's game. And what you would argue here, and Verducci does, the chess-like element of the game of baseball is turning into checkers. That ain't good.
Right. All you're really talking about in the Major League game, if you have power lineup versus power rotation, is pitch to pitch, selection, location. And that's a fun debate, but if that's the only debate you're having for the course of 3.5 hours, and an hour of that 3.5 hours is situationals where you have lefty-lefty, righty-righty out of the bullpen, you're playing matchup baseball, then all of a sudden the outcomes that you're looking for, if you want to see some offense, they drop from a 25% probability down to 15%.
1/3 of all turns at bat now end without a ball being put in play. That is an all-time high for baseball. Either a strikeout at a record rate for the 10th straight year, I might add, a walk, the highest it's been in nearly a decade, or a home run, which is at an all-time high. The 3 true outcomes, as we've talked about, it used to be that managing a game, and I'm quoting, you would think about what pitching matchups you wanted based on maybe who you could get a ground ball out of or a double play if you needed one, says Reds manager Brian Price. Now what you find yourself doing is defending against the home run. Who can swing and miss? Who can get swings and misses? And that's that. And, as strikeouts and home runs increase, so does the time players take to gear up for these max effort battles, which is they're talking about the guys stepping in and out of the box, so forth. You can put an end to that if you'd like, though.
Yeah, but here's real quick, I was talking to my dad, obviously Father's Day being Sunday, and that's when I talk Rays baseball. I don't really watch a ton of the Rays, but
they're actually having a nice campaign here.
They are, and it's funny. He was talking about them, and he said, they hit a lot of home runs. They do strike out a lot, though. I'm like, Dad, I think that's every team
baseball.
Now. I think that's everybody now. That's what everybody's watching, and it brings me back to a point that I was hearing on the Mets broadcast, and it's not that one.
But please tell me you have that one, because
I
momentarily we'll add some levity to the program, which is always fun, because my man Keith Hernandez can't help himself, whether it's falling asleep or back when he was a player doing cocaine or talking now where he thinks he's off the air.
And rightfully, he should be off the air. But it looks like MLB TV screwed him on that one.
This is good. We'll play it in a moment. He's also not wrong. His assessment of how Tanner Roark's pitching is pretty accurate.
It's the report about advice that Jay Bruce got. And then also the numbers that back it up. And I think it was Ken Rosenthal that was talking about it. But the idea that the shift puts a player in a position, if they're a pull hitter and they're a power hitter, to not even try to hit the ball on the ground.
No, lift the ball. You got to lift the ball in the air.
You have to. You don't have a choice. There's no such thing as a ground ball through the right side base hit for a power hitter on the right side, especially on the left side, but either side anymore.
There was a recent article, the shift ruined Ryan Howard's career.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a willingness to go the other way and spread out your splits, because that's not, a slugging percentage play. Then if you're not willing to do that, the only thing you can do is try to put backspin on the ball, drive it out of the yard, or drive it into the alleys. And that changes things too.
But what it will do is forge the next crop of player that shows off a versatility that teams will then want. People who can actually use the bat like a magician, like Tony Gwynn and some of the great hitters of all time used to. This will beget guys that can control the bat, who shorten up and put the ball in play and can put it to the left side if the shift is on the right side. They can do the things that players of yesteryear that we laud used to do, even those who hit for power. I mean, Stan Musial could hit for power. Ted Williams hit for power. Joe DiMaggio could hit for power, but they didn't strike out, and they would put the ball in play. Now, they weren't facing guys throwing 100. But I do think it will bring about, it's the whole argument about necessity. I mean, that's what will happen.
Well, at what point will a team value that player who only hits 7 to 10 home runs a year versus a guy who hits 60 points lower and hits double that in home runs or triple that?
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part where you can't tell unless you change the rules fundamentally, and baseball doesn't like to do that very often.
But they will do it.
But
they've lowered mounds. They've done things in the past.
But how can you tell a team to change its fundamental strategy of how to develop its roster, its farm system, and its philosophy of how to score runs? If the numbers bear out that I'm better off station to station and not putting the ball in play and seeing what happens, well, then how can you tell me not to do that?
You can't force anybody to adapt a strategy that is more beneficial for viewing by the fans. You can't, because obviously teams are going to put together the teams they think can give them the best chance to win, because ultimately that's what fans do want over aesthetically pleasing styles of play. But I just think that, if you have a lot of 1-0, 2-1 games and people aren't scoring runs, they're going to say, well, this isn't working. Yeah, the runs we do score are via the home run, but we're scoring 2.7 a game. So this ain't getting it done, boys. Let's figure out another way to get on base and score more runs. You'll just see somebody decide to go counter to what's popular. Somebody will say, I'm not so sure about all this. I think we've got it wrong. I think sitting around here waiting around on the home run isn't going to be as beneficial to us as if we put together a team that can put the ball in play and get on base. These things don't happen overnight, but they do happen. We've watched the shift into this current mentality happen to coincide with the amount of strikeout pitchers, et cetera.
Well, I think the hard part is, there are a lot of people who will argue expand the strike zone. And I hear that because that does force the bat off your shoulder a little bit more. But then if you look at what the average pitcher brings to the table these days, is that really that beneficial to the game? Because you're just going to increase strikeouts with guys throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour as starters now. Mm-hmm. And then you have lefty, lefty, righty, righty, as the game progresses. Is an expanded strike zone really going to help you? Then if you want to, argue the counter, why don't you shrink the strike zone and force the pitchers to come into a spot where the hitter is going to offer at it because it's a good pitch for him. By the same token, players are now going to work more walks. So I don't think that, the strike zone is something that you necessarily can manipulate in order to get the game moving like it once did, where you're playing action-packed baseball versus now what is station-to-station ball.
What does bog you down when you have the greater discussion about how to fix this stuff, and that's really what people want to do, is they say, fine, statistically we can look at the percentages of balls put in play and see that it's down. We can look at less contact and how that's continued to trend from 2007 through 2011. The rate at which players made contact when they swung at a pitch remained fairly consistent, around 80%, but as the velocity has gone up, that's now dropping each year since, and so that notes your point. All right, we can do that, right? And they are doing that, and that's cool. And, modern metrics and the emphasis on sabermetrics and so forth has allowed for that. Just another view or way to analyze what a hitter is or is not, what a team offense is or is not, what a pitcher is. But then you take that information and you use it for the good of the sport, and you go to Rob Manfred and you say, well, here's what we're confronted with. Guys aren't going to start throwing less than 98 miles per hour. We're seeing more and more than ever. I gave you the stats on how many pitchers could throw 100 miles per hour 5 years ago as opposed to today. The rise is absolutely stunning. The percentages have gone from, a few handfuls of pitchers to now well over 200 of guys that can throw over 100. It's crazy. So there's that. But you get bored when you read this stat, for example, again, taken from the Verducci article. Players are taking 1.1 second more between pitches this year than last. It all adds up, but 1 second more? We're trying to fix 1 second? I think you got to look somewhere else.
Lower the mound again?
It's funny. They're talking about teams used a record number of pitchers. There's been an increased pitching supply. Teams used a record 742 pitchers last year, 25 per team. An increase of 107 pitchers over the last 10 years per team. The last 4 innings of a baseball game have become all about who throws 100 and can you touch it, and that's it. And teams now have a bevy of these guys that they go to get one batter from one side throwing 100, and they keep the ball from being put into play. So what do you do about that?
Unless you're the Mets, everybody throws 90 to 92 out of our pen. Everyone. Nobody throws 95 or harder. No one. It's unbelievable in this day and age.
Baseballs are leaving the park like never before. In spite of that, it's on track to surpass 6,000 home runs for the first time in a season. Home runs are up 46% in 3 years. Did you hear that? 46% in the last 3 years, home runs are up. That is remarkable. Usually you associate something like that as an offensive explosion and something we should be celebrating and the great home run chases around the league, and it's the opposite. It's not doing that at all.
Maybe Tanner Roark is helping with the home run explosion.
Nicely done, because you knew I wanted to hear that audio. And leave it to Keith Hernandez, whom gets victimized here through no fault of his own, aside from breaking the old broadcasting rule about treating every mic like it's a live mic, which I often break as well. So I have great empathy for Keith Hernandez. But leave it up to my man to say something like this.
Roark got knocked out in the third inning.
Roark's been getting his
slit. He really has.
I love your boy's steady. Yeah, he really has. I mean, there's no hiccup there at all. They've had this conversation or conversations like it many times before. It'd be akin to people being able to hear you in the other talkback studio and me here talking during commercial breaks, and just the casual nature in which certain things are thrown around and
especially on a Sunday, maybe prepping for a Fisher interview in football season, or a Monday when we're talking about, as we've watched the game a second time, and you say, well, this guy da-da-da-da-da-da. I go, well, yes, he did. But if people knew what the da-da-da-da-da actually stood for, they'd be mortified.
Or happy and going, this show's the best thing I've ever heard. They should put this on satellite and allow him to talk freely.
Roark got knocked out in the third inning.
Roark's been getting his
slit. He really has.
Yeah, he really has.
Commercial break in progress.
He's like, oh, man. Oh, there's some all-timers. Just go to YouTube and find any number of broadcasters thinking they were off the air.
Might have happened on a YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago.
Well, that was like milliseconds, and it was just you.
It was me,
one time.
Not you,
yeah, it was one time, and it was a millisecond. I went back and listened, though. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
There are a few simple things you can do right now that will save energy while you try to keep out of the summer heat. First thing, get your air conditioner checked out and change your air filters. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how much energy and money you can save. Going away from home on vacation? Why not purchase a programmable thermostat to regulate your air conditioner while you're not at home? Talk about an investment that'll pay energy savings dividends. Make an appointment right away for a free energy audit from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. You never know how much energy you can save until you do it. The City of Tallahassee is offering insulation grants. Why not apply for one? Did you know that the City of Tallahassee offers loans to help with the purchase of solar water heaters? Visit talgov.com/YOU for information on loans and rebates. So stay cool, go green, and save energy all summer long. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility.
For better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine, change your vehicle's oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. For good times and family fun, Tallahassee heads to the Fun Station. And right now, when you change your oil at Superlube, you'll get a $15 Fun Station gift card. You don't need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area Superlubes, there's probably one right around the corner right now.
How I love to Superlube my car, yes sir.
By the time that we got up there, his room was filled with smoke.
The wind had blown and drifted the snow up against the side of my house, blocking the exhaust from my furnace.
I heard the smoke alarm going off in my friend's apartment.
Without the kid's smoke alarm, my son would not be here today.
And had it not been for that carbon monoxide detector, they would come to school and not have their teacher there.
I grabbed my fire extinguisher and put out the fire.
Kidda makes technology that saves lives.
Get these essential products at your local retailer today.
There's no greater pain a parent can suffer than losing a child, and yet heat stroke deaths in hot cars are on the rise. The temperature inside a vehicle can reach deadly levels in just a few minutes. Leaving windows cracked does not help. These preventable deaths can occur even when the outside temperature is as low as 57 degrees. Never leave your baby or child in a vehicle, even for a short period, and always check the back seat before you get out of the car. Where's baby? Look before you lock. For more information, go to nhtsa.gov/heatstroke.
Ah, the perfect lunch spot. A nearly impossible find. Thankfully for Tallahassee, we have Metro Deli. A downtown gem for over 15 years, Metro Deli is locally owned and features the best deli meats, cheeses, breads, and ingredients in the city. Enjoy daily specials and soups, salads and wraps. There's something for everyone. Metro Deli offers online ordering for pickup or delivery and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
Now that summer is here, beat the heat on the water. The Wilderness Way has daily or weekly rental of touring, recreational, and fishing kayaks. If you've been wanting to try kayak fishing, Real Fin Addict can put you on the water with all the equipment, including Hobie Mirage Drive kayak and guide to fish for trout, redfish, flounder, and tarpon. Wilderness Way, 3152 Shadeville Road, Crawfordville. Call them at 877-7200 and visit them online at wildernessway.net. Get out on the water.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Let me tell you something, girl.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You know, it's cool when you look at those over-unders we were talking about earlier in the show in the first hour from Vegas, win totals, etc. When you check those win totals from South Point Sportsbook, you end up kind of grouping the teams that then would win the divisions, right? And you'd see some pretty interesting results because of something you noted too, Tom, when we're going through, well, how can 3 teams have this over-under, right? Clemson/FSU versus Miami is the ACC. They've got FSU and Clemson. It comes down to that game. You know, if you look at 9.5 and 9.5, right?
So don't blow it, Miami. This is your chance.
But that was the answer you said at the time. Who comes out of that Coastal? And I said, well, I guess it looks like it's going to be Miami, according to Vegas. But you're right. Miami's win total over-under is at 9. They don't think much of the rest of the Coastal at all if that's your winner. 9.
Sounds about right, though.
And in the Big 12, it would be Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. In the Big 10, Ohio State and Wisconsin. Although Penn State is definitely...
Every year with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah.
Like 2 decades worth of Wisconsin love. Are they playing LSU again to start the year?
You know... Every time I do the Tent of Suspicion, you know who resides there comfortably as champions of the Tent of Suspicion party. It's always Wisconsin or Texas A&M or UCLA.
It had gotten so dark for us in the lost decade that we were labeled next to Wisconsin as a team that was perennially ranked in the top 10
and
or top 12.
Had no business being, yeah.
And had no business being there.
But we, as Florida State fans, began to... we used to embrace that. I used to say, well, yeah, we deserve that moniker, but really the thing that sucks for a program when they're on the downside and everybody can see it is that the cachet they've built up over the years is what is revealed in the writers' vote. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can say, look, man, guys, we're not what you think we are. That's cool. That years and years worth of kicking ass has you believing that we're bound to do it. See Miami over the last 10 years. Every year there's an article written about how the Canes, this is the time, are going to turn it around, and they never do. Although I do think, once again, we would say this is probably one of their best chances to do that, given that they have a competent coach now.
Well, save for that 2012 year, Notre Dame has been in that class for a good long while now, too.
That run to the national title game is what kind of, just sparked all of that again.
Yeah, it was that, and then there was the run they had with Charlie Weiss when they made the Sugar Bowl and then got summarily dismissed and destroyed by Jimbo and Jamarcus.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a run after that.
No, but every year people say, well, here it is, and here it is, and we were there. I remember those days, man. I was an undergrad driving around Tallahassee.
Writers want that, though. College football writers want Ohio State. They want Florida State. They want Miami. They want Notre Dame. They want Michigan. They want Southern Cal. The Blue Bloods, the elite of college football that for the better part of over, 60, 70 years have dominated the sport or longer, they want those teams to be up there. It's more enjoyable for them to debate those all-time programs. They're not going to champion Houston. There's not enough consistency over the years. They're going to champion Oklahoma or Florida State or Miami until they just finally decide at some point, what are we doing here? This is just not happening. I wondered about it for Texas forever. I was like, man, why do they keep propping up Mac Brown's teams, man? Dude's won 2 conference titles.
After that Sunday game that I was at between Texas and Notre Dame last year, people thought it was an instant classic from a talent standpoint on the football field. Texas was in the top 15, I think, the second week of the season. And let's see what the preseason rankings are for them now, the Herman factor, because there's an excuse for the writers to put Texas up in a position that perhaps it's far too soon to put them in.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas isn't buying it. They've got the over-under for Texas at 7.5. I mean, Vegas is like, you can hire who the hell ever you want. You can hire Nick Saban. We've given you 7.5, losers. You guys don't have enough on offense.
You still got eligibility left? You go play defense for Texas.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, 7.5.
That's what that is. That means they're going to give up 42 points a week.
Well, they did last year, didn't they? If you go look at the way the rest of that plays out and just the way Vegas is projecting win-loss totals, what you would then have is Alabama and Ohio State as the top 2 seeds in the playoff, and you'd have Southern Cal or Washington out of the Pac-12 as a 3 and Oklahoma as a 4. Be cool to see Washington reemerge. I keep saying that. I sound like the people champion Miami.
I mean, they were there last year.
I know, but I got to see consistency before I declare somebody's back after a 1 year. You know what I mean?
Preaching consistency. I love it.
Need to see some consistency. It's about the consistency. What kind of consistency can you show me here?
You really think Clemson, Florida State is for the ACC again? I mean, there is a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. I get what happened to them at the tail end of their season last year, but one would think this Heisman Trophy winning quarterback going from his sophomore season to his junior season may have something to say.
Well, they improve as a passer, but they lose a lot. Lamar Jackson, there was an element of being able to slow him down towards the end of last year. You saw teams do a much better job against him than we did. I do think he'll continue to improve as a passer.
I mean, Vegas believes that they're every bit as qualified. That's why I ask. I mean, you're talking about how Vegas is not impressed with Texas.
I went under 9.5 for Louisville. The half, I think it was 9.5. It was 9.5. I went under 9.5 for Louisville.
They do get Clemson in week 3. I get they play North Carolina and Clemson back-to-back weeks 2 and 3 respectively.
It's 9.5.
But I mean, damn. I don't know. It's
minus 120 for 9.5. By the way, going under.
Going under?
Going under.
Really?
Yeah.
That means that defense is going to have to be bad because they'll score. Petrino. It's not like Petrino has forgotten how to coach.
No, nobody's worried about them scoring. They'll score. I do think teams will devise ways, as they did last year, to slow down Louisville as the year went on, and I do think defensively they're not going to be great. So sure, yeah, I think that's where that lands. I'm not saying they're a bad team. If you look at, well, I mean, we're at a stage now where we're a couple months out from college football. The other odds that you can now find involve the Heisman Trophy race, which would be USC quarterback Sam Darnold, who turned around their season last year. Baker Mayfield is on that list. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is back on that list. And J.T. Barrett, who's been playing at Ohio State for 15 years.
Quickly, that is true. He's
good God, man.
He's been there. He's Stuart Tapley. With what Louisville brings to the table and we bring to the table, and Clemson obviously reigning national champs, and they'll reload. NC State's defensive line. Would you claim that perhaps the ACC Atlantic Division is the greatest division ever assembled in college football history?
Of course I'd claim that, Tom. I mean, it's pretty self-evident, isn't it?
I'm just running the numbers right here, and you know what? It may surpass that 2014 SEC West division. I think it might be the best in college football history.
Hey, so if you want to bet on the coaches to be fired, I may have just been 1 year too early. Last year, the way it started out, it looked like I was going to be terribly wrong. But as the year went on, you could see that I was closer to right than not. Kevin Sumlin's name is high on the list. I keep waiting on firing your ass, Kevin. Overrated as you are. Oh, you and Jim Mora. Got no time for Jim Mora out at UCLA, underachieving on the regular. Cliff Kingsbury, you can only keep your job for being apparently a good-looking guy for so long. I mean, we're going to need you to your teams have to tackle somebody.
You did win that spat with Fat Bielema that one time, but, that only gets you so far, too.
I did win the spat with Fat Bielema. Butch Jones is also on the list of 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you. Butch, we've been looking at you for a couple years now. Tennessee's choking ass.
He looks like the Horned Frog mascot.
I think he's about done. I mean, in life. He just looks like a guy who's about to be on Skid Row.
In life?
I don't mean he's going to die. I just think he's going to turn to the bottle.
If he does, you're going to hate yourself.
I don't cause these things. Get your life together, Butch.
It's out there in space now.
I didn't cause it just because I said it. Good Lord. I'm just saying Butch looks like a guy who's on the verge of pulling a Tiger Woods. I mean, he's going to be on a roadside somewhere slurring his words. A lot of prescription medication. I'm wishing him well. I don't want it to happen, just like I'd like to see Tiger get help. By the way, Tiger came out and announced today that he's getting help, that he's gone to a professional team to help him deal with the amount of painkillers he's on. That's a true story. And I don't root for that. I'm just acknowledging it. I think he's on the verge of joining the crew.
Who's your SEC East champion while we're at it? Is Georgia turning it around quicker than Florida can get its offense together?
It's my man Humping the Shark. He's going to go back-to-back East champions.
He's pulling the Tom Mansky.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to parade it out there for the world. Hey, I win the East every year.
See, they gave him an extension. Boy, oh boy. They gave him that rollover year.
Yeah, but that's always, every coach lobbies for that, and a lot of times it has you wondering, like, I don't know. People talking about him in recruiting circles?
Usually when we announce these things, it happens in December. You guys waited till June, huh?
He's probably out there finding out that people are like, well, he may or may not have humped a shark, and they don't ever beat FSU, and they struggle to score touchdowns. He's an offensive coach who, once again, may or may not have been humping a shark, and they can't score.
McWayne! It's the professor, like the one, where was it, Arkansas?
Arkansas.
Yeah. You're half as good at coaching offensive ball
as you are humping sharks. Listen. This is the beauty of college football, the madness of it all that we always welcome back into our lives in just a couple months. We're less than 70 days away, and what happens is it brings about the lunacy, the behavior that you're referencing, where an Arkansas professor is inebriated at a football game calling out Fat Bielema as he leaves the field for one too many losses. He's had enough. He's tired of watching this nonsense, Fat Bielema. Can we win some damn games here? Woo pig suey.
47 years I've had tickets and never in my life.
It gets crazy. It gets crazy. You got to mentally prepare yourself. We'll give you a little dose at a time, just because this is what happens. You don't think those Tennessee fans are ready to kick Butch Jones to the curb? How many times are those poor people going to be told, oh, yeah, it's on the verge of happening for Tennessee?
What's happening is the proverbial diners, from the Alabama days and the promo of yesteryear.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting their Phil Steele magazine, and they're rifling through. But the first place they go is, of course, to their own Tennessee Volunteers.
Sure.
And then they see head coach, and it says Butch Jones.
Damn it.
And then it hits them.
Damn it. It doesn't matter who we brought in, Felix. sorry son of a bitch is still coaching here. Vol Nation.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
License number CCC 049350.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. How do I convey to you just how good the incentives and discounts are on America's fastest growing car company, Nissan? Seriously, please shop Kraft Nissan before you buy. No one has the incentives and low prices we have. Not Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Honda, or Hyundai. $5,800 in savings on Altima SR. Brand new automatic Frontier pickup starting at just $21,800. 0% interest for 72 months on our most popular models. Rebates up to $10,000 and no payments until football season. I'm telling you, in the over 30 years I've been in the car business, I've never seen such incentives and low prices. I've got pages and pages of special interest rates, rebates, and bonus cash. Kraft Nissan even has a factory rebate for any credit score under 625 to help you with your down payment. Here's the deal. Nissan is America's fastest growing car company, and they want to be number one, and they're buying market share. So please, before you buy, check out Kraft Nissan's exciting lineup of new vehicles. That's all I ask. Stop by Kraft Nissan and look. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes dealer preparation charge.
If you haven't stopped into Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out.
Hey, it's me, Courtney. Hey, it's me, Marissa. Last but not least, I'm Kim, and we're the girls from the Fourth Quarter.
Okay, girls, there are lots of great nights to stop in at the Fourth Quarter, including Monday, where it's happy hour all day, including 2-for-1 Wells. There's Tuesday night trivia with Professor Jimmy, where you can win money. What other night should we stop by the Fourth Quarter?
It's Kim again. Join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for Bubbles and Brunch from 7 to 2. $18.99, all you can drink mimosas and Bloody Marys, and it includes breakfast.
Hey, Riss here. Come join me for lunch. We have over 20 lunch specials for just $7.50, and that includes a drink.
I'm Courtney. Visit me on Monday nights when we have 2-for-1 Wells, calls, and domestic drafts all night.
Don't miss out on the girls of the Fourth Quarter. Pick your favorite night and stop in. Say hi to the girls at 2033 North Monroe Street, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill, Tallahassee's favorite hangout. Fire Betty's, the Fox and Stag, located in the Manor at Midtown in the heart of Midtown Tallahassee. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Fire Betty's features newly refurbished vintage arcade games, a brand new food menu, and a summertime-only happy hour from 5 to 9. Thursday is hospitality night, live music on Friday nights from 9 till 1, and video DJs on Saturdays on the outside TVs. The Fox and Stag, Tallahassee's best craft bartenders, mixing up cocktails sourced with local ingredients. Wednesday night is ladies' night with free champagne from 9 till 11. For catering and private parties, give them a call at 727-8284.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This Day in
sports history.
June 20th, 1967. Muhammad Ali was convicted of refusing induction into the armed services in protest to the war in Vietnam. He was sentenced to 5 years in jail and a $10,000 fine, which would later be appealed to the Supreme Court. Ali was stripped of his heavyweight championship and could not return to the ring until 1970.
How's your car's air conditioner working? Could be better? Take it to Auto Super Service Center today for a comprehensive air conditioner service. It's just $49.99. Yep, just $49.99. Since 1980, Tallahassee's trusted name for auto repairs, service, and low prices has been Auto Super Service Center. There are 5 Tallahassee area Auto Super Service Center locations. Find the one nearest you at autosuperservicecenter.com and call for an appointment. $49.99 air conditioner service special is a limited time offer, so call today.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. The Noles hanging out in Omaha for a little bit longer. It's do or die the rest of the way as Florida State did awfully well last night with a 6-4 win against Cal State Fullerton. Now, Florida State will meet LSU in the elimination game Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The Tigers, who beat Florida State in the first round, were hammered by Oregon State yesterday. Today in Omaha, 2 games, Texas A&M and TCU in the elimination game, while the Florida Gators will take on Louisville. Both those teams won in their first game. Well, the NBA draft is on Thursday. We pretty much know who picks number 1 through 4 will be, but former Seminole Jonathan Isaac will certainly hear his name in the top 10. Most mock drafts have him at either 6 to Orlando or 7 to Minnesota. And of course, that picks up where the free agent frenzy continues. Dwayne Wade leading towards picking up that $24 million player option to remain with the Bulls for one more season, while the Cavs are looking to get even better and acquire either Paul George or Jimmy Butler from the Bulls.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Baseball, buddy. Did you watch Oregon State last night? Did I ask you that?
Yeah, you texted me during the game. I caught the grand slam, and I was, paying attention on and off. I was actually going through a bunch of old Jeopardies. I'm DVR'd, so sometimes I'll knock out 3 or 4 and play some Jeopardy. But, yeah, I watched the grand slam live, and I saw them get their second and third runs, too.
So, it's funny. I said before yesterday's game against Cal State Fullerton that the pitching numbers looked good, but I didn't know how much I respected them. And it was just the arrogance that I hold as a Southerner. And so I kind of just looked with a blanket disdain towards Cal State Fullerton. Despite their championships and their pedigree, I'm just dismissing them, admittedly, for no other reason than that they don't play down here. Which, in college baseball, outside of a few pockets of the country, is a fair reason to doubt their level of acumen for the game.
Yeah, but it's not like they're mowing through the old Mountain West or something.
Right,
Like
yeah.
They played a Pac-12 schedule and completely eviscerated the conference.
Oregon State did, not Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were getting right to the chase of Oregon
I'm talking
State.
about Cal State Fullerton.
Okay.
No, what I was saying was I completely dismissed Cal State Fullerton and dismissed them solely because of where they play, the region of the world, the country where they play. I went, yeah, they don't play ball out there. And then, oddly, how that translates is this. I sit down last night to see Oregon State play, whom I know has lost all of 4 games all year long. But I saw the way they had to rally against Cal State Fullerton, and I thought we had an easier go of it. I just felt like we really didn't have to work that hard, even though that's not true either. But it feels like that I was on the cusp of disrespecting Oregon State too, or as well as Cal State Fullerton. And then Oregon State did that to LSU, and I went, well, you better shut your mouth in a hurry, Cameron, because that team, there's a reason they've only lost 4 games. I guess ultimately we got to the point you were making, but the point was that I had what I thought was good reason to dismiss Cal State Fullerton based on regionality.
That's a combination of two things. A, we've talked off the air about Oregon State prior to last night, and so I knew that was your take. I haven't watched them play, but I mean, it's Oregon State.
Oh, what are you going to do?
Secondly, I'm queuing up the probable sounders and stuff, and that's what I get, for not listening to the show, just hearing you speak.
I'm not mad, man. I could see why you would blanket assume that I would stereotype West Coast teams in a similar vein.
Because you blanket
stereotype
West Coast teams.
Yeah, I do. And so, which one? Really, it's kind of haphazard. I assume, Jeff, you're talking about all of them, knowing you. Yeah, but then anyhow, they pasted LSU last night, and I went, well, it's kind of fun and games they have around there in Corvallis, is it? All right. Guess they could play a little bit. Having to beat them twice. You like the way I assume the win over LSU coming up tomorrow night. Having to beat them twice will be a tall task.
When the kid served up the grand slam, the kid with the long flowing locks, that was one of the great looks because they showed the batter's eye camera, and after he lets it go, he turns around and he goes, oh well, I just served up the first grand slam in TD Ameritrade Park history in the College World Series. And we're down 8-0.
Well, the game's over. I mean, as soon as that pitch leaves his hand and you see that it's served, you're like, oh, nighty-night.
Guess my guys around me are playing on Wednesday. I don't think they're letting me in this ball game on Wednesday night.
Well, that was weird, too, for LSU to have an injury in the second inning. That's you got a guy on the hill just grab his foot. I actually felt bad for that guy. The look of just disgust without trying to outwardly show the devastation he had to have been feeling inside was really admirable. I mean, the way that he handled that, he kind of just winced, asked for the ball, and then motioned to the dugout like, I'm not going to be able to continue.
Like, you got to be kidding me. And he had a look of embarrassment on his face, too, which is not –
Well, he's cruising along, I mean.
And it's human nature to feel that in that moment. But, you didn't let your team down.
If your arm snaps, what are you going to do?
Your arm lets you down.
Kind of amazing, though. I mean, I got to imagine for you to stop pitching in the College World Series while you're off of a beautiful strike on the outside corner and you just kind of wince for a second and you realize something's not right. I've just injured I'm amazed. Pitchers do this a lot. You see it in the majors when a guy tears his ACL or something, or
UCL.
UCL. You'll see it. The way that they kind of just they hear a snap. They're obviously in immense pain. They buck up. They take a deep breath and they walk the hell off the mound. Like, well, that's that. I'll be going to get surgery. Time for Tommy John.
Sometimes clearly players hear it too. Because you'll even see hitters in years past.
Look over.
Like this
yeah.
Time. And the catcher's like, whoa.
My man's done here. Yeah. It's crazy. All right, let's do probables. Go ahead, fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Indians, Orioles, Josh Tomlin, Chris Tillman. We've got Angels, Yanks, Parker Bridwell, Michael Pineda. Cardinals, Phillies, Mike Leake, and Jeremy Hellickson. Hellickson is 2-2, 4 career starts against the Cardinals. A little tidbit that I thought everybody should know. Reds, Rays, Amir Garrett, and Alex Cobb. Cobb feels just so sort of. Nationals, Marlins, Gio Gonzalez, Edison Volquez, who outside of a no-hitter really is strangely dominant now over his last 4 starts, prior to which, the no-hitter that is, he had done nothing all year long to indicate any of this was possible. Isn't it weird? Flick of a switch, light bulb. He is 3-0 with a 1.7 since that.
Maybe Mike Bell called him and said, hey, change your arm slot. I got you.
Giants, Braves, Matt Moore, Julio Teheran. Chad Kuhl's going to go for my Buccos, who pasted the Brewers last night. Nice. Zach Davies will go for the Brewers. Padres, Cubs. By the way, McCutchen hit another home run last night. Guy's hitting like 400 with 13 bombs since going down to the 6-hole. How crazy is that? How's a guy go from being a 4-hole or a 2-hole hitter down to the 6 and they can't get him out?
Maybe Mike Bell gave him a phone call and said, hey, your swing mechanics.
Yeah, you got to go down to the 6-hole, buddy. You'll be all right. Padres, Cubs. Mr. Chassin on the hill for the Padres. He's pitching well lately. Mike Montgomery going for the Cubs. Blue Jays, Rangers. Francisco Liriano, who's also pitching well lately. Nick Martinez for the Rangers. White Sox, Twins. Derek Holland. Irvin Santana. Big slate tonight. Red Sox, Royals. Chris Sale and Matt Strahm. D-backs, Rockies. Zach Greinke. It's funny. Zach Greinke in spring training was hitting about 88 to 90 on the gun, and his ball was flat, and they were scared to death that this was going to be a disastrous campaign for Greinke. And he's allowed just 2 runs and struck out 7 in 7 innings in his last outing, but that's all part of a great June and part of a great season. Despite doing really nothing, that it was an indicator that this was going to happen.
No, I mean, who knew that the NL West was going to feature a 3-horse race into the All-Star break?
Crazy. Marquez going for the Rockies, Astros, A's. Martes, Sonny Gray will go for the A's. By the way, are you done with the Mets?
We're getting there.
I thought so. Wheeler now 2 straight starts where he's been terrible.
Yeah, it's just, if you're not going to pitch and that's what you're built around, well, that's a problem.
Gesellman goes tonight for you guys. Ooh. Brandon McCarthy for the Dodgers. Don't feel good about that?
No, they're hitting the ball. That's what sucks. That was what they needed to fix. They did, and now they can't pitch. So is life.
He's got a 5.5, 5.71 as a starter. I'm not being a jerk. I marvel. I mean this just because this is baseball, and we talk about this all the time, and it's why when you got to the World Series, and it's why when other people's teams get to the World Series, it's why when the Pirates won 98 games, you just feel like, I don't know if we'll get this again. Baseball's so odd. You can't count on anything. I mean, I'm being serious when I say the one thing we thought we knew for sure about the Mets was that they were going to have pitching for days for the foreseeable future, and now we look at an organization and you have, no pitching. It's crazy.
There's nothing behind it, but that's because they had 7 starters that they liked.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm saying you had pitching for days, but even the 7 starters that you like now are questionable.
Right.
I mean, nobody's good anymore.
And they had an 8th. His name is Michael Fulmer, and he was, dominating for Detroit last year, and he was the piece that brought Yoenis over. So, yeah, I mean.
It's that's what I mean. When you're there.
They don't have anything behind it, but of course they don't. They just produced 7 quality arms.
But my point is, it's not a knock on the organization. I'm saying nobody should expect that there would be anything behind it. But that what's unpredictable about baseball is the 7 to 8 arms you had now suck. I mean, you've got, one of them doesn't. Matt Harvey's done. He's useless. You've got another one who's injured, and we'll see what he is when he comes back. Probably good, but Thor is injured and out. And all the rest of these guys aren't any good.
Yeah, DeGrom's making them. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
What happened?
They're not living in the 2s like they were
crazy.
ERA.
Like how quickly, you think, and I mean this obviously it's harder for you as a Mets fan, but that's what I mean. When the Pirates won 98 games, part of a 3-year playoff run, you're like, oh, they're set up. Well, they're not set up.
No, but it makes it easier, though. I mean, if what you do best is what now you're doing worse, that makes it so much. Yeah, well, and I'll bet you next season, 3 or 4 of those guys are going to be good pitchers, and people are going to, overvalue them, or undervalue them, I should say. But whatever. So, such is life, man.
I didn't bring it up to be a jerk. It's just,
you know me.
I
can
so
handle
bizarre.
this.
No, I know.
I'm a big boy.
It's bizarre how quickly things shift in baseball. What you think you know.
And we can hit. We're hitting.
Tigers, Mariners, Jordan Zimmerman, Ariel Miranda. And, I went backwards there. The Mets were in Dodgers in the last game of the night with Gesellman and McCarthy. You'll watch that game or no?
No, I'll be asleep.
Watch a bunch of Jeopardy episodes?
Man, I love it. I'm in the Teachers Tournament, which happened about a month ago. I'm in week 2 of the Teachers Tournament. It's fun.
My dad does the same thing. He'll record a bunch of them in a row. I'll catch it when I can catch it, and I sit down with my boys, and we yell and all that. I haven't recorded it.
There was a guy last night, one of the teachers, he actually made the wild card in the second round, but he speaks like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. They asked him a question about Einstein. Where did he work when he, formulated his thoughts? What was the patent office? Like that, and
that's the way he talks?
Alex was like, yes, correct. Like he had to think about what the guy said.
Hey, as you guys sit and do whatever it is you're going to be doing tonight, remember this. It's International Refugee Day. I want to bring that up if only to remind everybody, not that you need me to preach to you, that obviously we live in a world that features a ton of violence, and that violence leads people to have to flee their countries and live on their own. I thought of that today while I was preparing to do a sports talk show host, and be a sports talk show host, and saw a picture of a woman holding her child in a field thousands of miles away from her home. So we're very, very fortunate, while there are many who are not, and I wanted to acknowledge that. Good work out of you, Tom. Good work, Matthew. To those who called in or listened, surely do appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.